What is going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Yards After the Catch podcast. I'm your host, Alex Young, and joining me, my three favorite friends. But we have everyone every week. I've been out for the last few weeks. Thanks everyone for stepping in. But I'm going to introduce everyone real quick, just to give everyone a refresher. Desmond, what's going on, buddy? How are you?
Doing good. Another win for the Eagles. On to the bye week.
We'll talk maybe a little about the Eagles. Maybe we'll not. We'll touch much. We'll see. But the other Alex, how you doing, buddy?
Good man. Just sitting with my nuts in my hand on a nice bye week. It's still a loss for us, but I'm happy to be here, man. I'm living. Good to see you.
Yeah, unfortunately for your Raiders, it's been the season that we all predicted, even though you
Pretty
predicted
much.
otherwise. But it's been
Yep.
brutal. But I can't say much because I'm a Giants fan. And lastly, we got Brian, the Cowboys fan. Brian, how you doing?
Your friendly neighborhood Cowboys fan, frustrated at life and have the best offensive in the league, and my defense can't stop cold.
Yeah, I mean, if Russell Wilson was any indication, the defense is pretty rough for the Cowboys,
Yeah,
and it's continued a continued trend. Unless they had like 2 weeks where they looked good and then they fall back into place. But we can discuss that a little bit. But again, super excited to talk another week of NFL football with you. So starting off today's episode is a team I don't think any of us expected to kick off the show, but it's the New York Jets, and that's because their losing streak finally ended. Everybody, the losing streak is over. The team that we not believe was going to be winless throughout the start of the year. The streak finally ended in a great game against the Cincinnati Bengals, and I really hope they don't try to have Brees Hall be the quarterback after throwing the game-winning touchdown pass. But they beat the Bengals on the news, unfortunately, of their franchise player, Nick Mangold, unfortunately passing away. So, on a day of emotions for us NFL fans, it was great to see the Jets get their much needed win. So, guys, are the Jets back? No, I'm just kidding. But just real quick, just want to get your guys' thoughts on the Jets getting their first win of the season. What stood out? Desmond, I'll start with you. What are your thoughts on the Jets win?
I was blown away by this. I was watching the Eagles play the Giants at the same time, so I was like flipping back and forth. It was like the only good game that was
Mhm.
on the entire week. And I couldn't get over the fact that it was happening. I kept like just waiting for the Jets to eventually collapse because the Bengals have looked a lot better since Joe Flacco got to town, but the Jets just kept coming. And honestly, our friend Brian here is going to try to tell you at some point in the podcast about why the Cowboys have the worst defense in the NFL, but it is not true, everyone, because the Bengals have the worst defense in the NFL, and I think they proved it again this week.
Right.
Yeah.
31st.
You can tie for
Uh,
first. You can tie for first.
Completely agree with you, Desmond, there, especially looking at this game where, Flacco's been looking great in Bengals uniform, the offense finally clicking, and then we're like, yeah, they're going to steamroll the Jets. But again, the Jets are a scrappy team. They haven't given up on their new head coach, especially with wins. They start off the year, they had a couple close games that didn't go their way, but they finally get a close game to go their way. And especially, again, like I said, on an emotional Sunday when we get the news about Nick Mangold. Alex, what were your thoughts between the Jets and the Bengals this week?
Well, it was just a one-man Brees Hall show, as far as I could tell. I've been impressed with him since he's been in the league. I thought he set the world on fire 2 years back, and continuing to progress as his young career continues to blossom. I thought that this was just a textbook game of his. He really carried this team on his back. I'm astounded at how bad the Bengals defense is, as Desmond is, as the rest of the world is, with two set of with a set of eyes. But the fact that they almost went 50% on third down is wild. They controlled the game clock. They came back. They put up big time numbers in the second half. This offense was just clicking all the way. But again, I still hold on hope for Flacco, even on that last drive. The 4th and 9, they couldn't convert it. So, you take the little wins where you can if you're a Jets fan. It's one less week of jumping off a bridge. So, and Cincinnati, you just got to pump the brakes on the Flacco hopium. You got to wait another week.
Yeah, yeah. We see what happens with the Bengals going again. I wouldn't say that was the worst loss of the week. You lose by a miracle play by a running back to that was wild. I think the worst loss of the week was the Chicago Bears. They could have controlled their destiny and they blew it with that Ravens loss. So, Brian, I'll go to you. What was your kind of thoughts on that game with the Jets finally prevailing and getting a 1 point win over the Bengals?
I'll start with the Bengals first. For me, I thought they played a great game offensively, and Joe Flacco. It's kudos to him at his age to continue to just. He's just a stud quarterback that could just
Mhm.
get it done. And throughout his career, he just has the arm talent. He can never really get it together at times, but like he makes some exciting plays. They had a really good run game, 181 yards and 3 touchdowns for 3 different players. That's cool. For New York, I think it was a statement game for Justin Fields, right? You had the owner literally go out and call you trash. So once that happens, you're like, well, I wasn't supposed to start this week anyway. If Tyrod Taylor is not hurt, I'm probably benched. So I'm just going to go out here, and this is almost an audition, basically, of, hey, I could still play. And you have to always, like, everyone goes so quick to saying that quarterback sucks. He's not a good player. You have to, like, you're good at what you're good at, and you're not. And when you're asked to do something that is not in your DNA or not in your skill set, no shit, you're not going to do well, right?
Yeah.
He's not going to be Matt Stafford. We know this.
No.
He's not going to be cerebral like Aaron Rodgers. He's weak at progression, but he's mobile and can make plays, right? Has a good arm. I think of Cordell Stewart on the Steelers way back when in the 90s, right? That's that kind of player right there. So you have to play to that skill set. Like him, he didn't work out because no one played to his skill set. So when you allow him to move in the pocket and you get some play action involved because the run game is set up, this is what happens. You could put points up.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I thought the Jets finally, I mean, it only took them, 8-week season to finally put Justin Fields in a situation to have success. And again, I think it worked wonders. You saw finishes the game 21 of 32, pretty efficient, 244 and a touchdown. Ran 11 times, 31 yards. So I think when Fields is on the move, but also play action stuff like that, it works. And when Brees Hall has 18 rushes for 133 yards and 2 touchdowns, helps establish, the offense. So kudos to Fields, not, breaking down under the pressure there, especially like you said with the owner throwing him under the bus. So again, can't believe we're starting off this edition of the podcast talking about the Jets, but we have to because, again, I think that was one of the bigger wins for them. It looks like they are still fighting for Aaron Glenn and the new coach, so we'll see what goes on from here. And maybe, this chip on the shoulder for Justin Fields, we finally see what they were expecting him all year. So we'll finish up there on our Jets talk because, of course, it's not a football podcast if we don't talk about Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. So, I'm just going to ask the question right now, and you guys are going to answer. Are the Chiefs back? I mean, they dominated the Washington Commanders on Monday Night Football 28-7. It was one-sided all the way through. They looked like a completely different team as we saw earlier in the year when a few weeks ago on this very podcast we said, is the dynasty done? They are looking, they're shutting all of us up. They're 5-3, third in the West, and looking like they aren't slowing down. So, Alex, I'll start with you, and you can answer the question. Are the Chiefs back? You're on mute, Alex, by the way. Still on mute. Alex, you there?
Sorry, guys. No, I mean, truthfully, I thought they were back 2 weeks ago when they beat the Lions. I thought that was a huge statement game. I thought that they were starting to turn a corner with this team this year and going back to, some of that championship form that we saw. We knew that they had the early struggles in the year with their health and availability with some of their receivers like Rice and some of the other guys on the roster. So it's nice to see those guys get back. I just thought that this was just a dominant performance. It was not a pretty game, necessarily for Mahomes. He had 2 picks in this game, but they took care of business. And I think it's really more of a commentary in this particular game about the Commanders. Just such a fall from grace from the NFC Championship last year. Really struggling through some internal issues with this roster and this availability. Debo doesn't look like the same guy. This defense does not have the same quickness as we saw. But to keep it, solely on the Chiefs for this segment, I think that they're just as impressive as anybody in the AFC, and we're going to find out exactly what they're made of with the Bills this week. So.
Yeah, it just looks like this Chiefs team's not slowing down. I know we could talk a little Commanders, and we can on this back half, especially with the amount of injuries that they've had this year and Danner's being out. Now McLaurin's gonna be out yet again. I mean, we could talk about that, but the Chiefs, we're keeping with the Chiefs right now, and yeah, like you said, Alex, they're looking like one of the teams that are gonna come out potentially out of the AFCs. Brian, what was your thoughts on this game, and are the Chiefs back?
I don't think they're back because outside the lines, they've only beat the Giants, Ravens, Raiders, and Commanders.
Should have lost to the Giants if we put Jackson Dart in. Just saying. Sorry, Brian.
Exactly. And, they've lost solid teams. And the next, after this game, the next, 5 games is hard for them. Bills, Broncos, Colts, Cowboys, Texans. And if you go 6 Chargers, realistically, the only game you could lose in that game is you win is the Cowboys, in my opinion. I think the Texans defense is going to absolutely stop the run and force Mahomes to pass. And he's spotty on picks every once in a while. He always reminds me of Brett Favre with that. He could win you the game and lose you the game in the same few series. Listen, he's going to probably win MVP just because of his offensive performance, but the offense is not what we've seen. They have a lack of run game. This might be the first Chiefs team in a while that won't have a 100-yard rusher for a game. I just don't like it. This is a team that needs to make some trades to bolster the run game, in my opinion, and also get a little more defensive help at the linebacker position. I think Nick Bolton can't do it alone. So I think there's still a lot to be seen with them.
Yeah. Good points. Agree too about the run game. I think they're going to most likely add a running back. I mean, I would be shocked if they don't. I mean, I love Pacheco, Rutgers legend. Saw that guy for a bunch of years in college. But again, they just don't have that dynamic runner, and the Chiefs are better when they have that. So I think they're going to go hunting for that. I completely agree. But surprising, Brian doesn't believe the Chiefs are back, and I love it because now Desmond, I'm going to go to you. You could be the kind of the tiebreaker here if are the Chiefs back.
Um, kind of. I think it's mostly because the AFC just feels weaker this year. The Ravens aren't as good. The Bills aren't playing up to what we're normally seeing from them. The Bengals obviously have fallen off the map. We're seeing some ascension teams like the Broncos and the Colts, but still really haven't seen them really tested yet. So I think they're kind of back because the competition around them has kind of come down a few pegs. But like Brian just kind of like highlighted, we're going to see how good they are the next few weeks here. I mean, the Buffalo game here this week is huge. Like
Yeah.
Buffalo
Yep.
really
At
needs to win
Buffalo.
this game, and it's
Yeah.
in Buffalo. I just I think if the Bills can take this game, we'll actually be all having a very different conversation a week from now. So this is actually a really big week to test if the Chiefs are back.
Yeah. No,
I
Yeah.
mean,
completely
just
agree.
looking at the schedule quick, the only like guaranteed win games I could see right now is at Dallas, at Titans, at Raiders. They have Broncos twice, Bills, Colts, Texans, Chargers.
It also
That's
depends on what
hard.
version of the Texans show up. Is it
Yeah,
the
but you
Texans
know what
we
it
just
is?
saw, or is it?
Listen,
Yeah.
Yeah, which
that's
Texans?
another
But yeah,
that's
we'll see.
another team that's in a running back trade category right now where they have the receiving core is phenomenal with the new rookies that they have, but the defense, top three in the league. They just need consistency in their run game to be able to set up Stroud.
And get some offensive line. That's
Yes, we can't
Tale
get
as old
everything.
as time.
we're gonna talk about some trade deadline talk in a little bit as well. So that for me, I think the Chiefs are back. Just because if their offense is clicking and they have
Yeah.
Rice back, they just look like they're a different machine. Now, if there's other injuries, again, if whatever Rice does something stupid again, gets himself suspended, then we have a different conversation. But the fact that Mahomes is getting his weapons back at the right time, that if that offensive clicks, they're a scary team. So I'm going to say they are back. But again, I think this week, I agree with everyone here that this week is definitely a telling week because next Wednesday when we're doing this podcast, we could all say like, yeah, they're cooked. Like, they played a good team and they got steamrolled. So it's going to be interesting to
Yeah.
see. I have more questions for them on the defensive side of the ball for the Chiefs right now than
Oh,
I
for
do
sure.
than the offense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really interested to see how the defense is,
And
especially against the Bills.
shout out to Spags with Karlaftis too. He's been having a
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Doesn't get a
Yeah.
lot of.
And again,
Yeah.
I'm going to be interested to see what Spags does with his Bills because we've seen him this year do some
Yeah.
things where I'm like,
Yep.
okay, like he literally ran Russell Wilson out of New York, kind of hilariously. Spags is back in New York, just does it. But that's a conversation for there. But actually, no, it's not because I'm gonna go go over here because our next topic is the Giants and my team. I've been out for a few weeks. I had my rant last time I was here. That was before the Broncos meltdown, which made me want to lose my mind. And now we're here again. That the Giants are just it's tough. My heart got ripped out. Everyone knew when Cam Scatterboo broke his leg against the Eagles. Um, and now I only have Dart to be excited to watch, and it's hard to just see when we have something positive. It all just go straight downhill when you see an injury like that. And thoughts to Cam Scatterboo, it looked like his surgery was a success, and everything's looking positive going into next season. And we know he might not be the same player, but just have him back, and his attitude there is going to be huge for the Giants going forward. But it's like what am I going to do for these next few weeks? It's been fun to watch Dart, but do I really want to watch Dart throw to like no one for the next 9 weeks? Like, and I was just actually on the phone with my dad before the show. He's the reason why I'm a Giants fan. He's seen tickets for a really long time. Um, it's kind of like where do we go from here? Because again, Dart's clearly the guy, and that's great. Like I'm very happy that we found our guy. I think Dart is our guy. But a lot of people are like we shouldn't fire Dable because he drafted his guy, and we should see how this develops. But we've been year four, and it's just
Nah.
been consistent losing. And Desmond, I'll have you guys all chime in. I want you guys to either
Hmm.
talk me off the ledge here or tell me I'm correct. So I'll go to you guys shortly. But
It does get better.
I hope. But then now it's like we're kind of in the same repeating cycle of just are we firing our coach and GM again? What's happening going forward? Are we keeping Dable because him and Dart seem to be connected and him and Kafka seem to be working? Our offense is working despite our limited weapons. Do we, or as a team that's 2-6, go and get a receiver at the trade line, which sounds absolutely freaking ridiculous. But but it's like, where are we going from here? Again, there's a lot of positives on this team that I see week in, and I'm feel a lot better this year than I do last year. Like I feel I can watch this team every week because now they feel like they're competitive. But you have a guy like Dexter Lawrence who just doesn't seem like he has any confidence right now in his game, and that could be a Bowen issue. We have lack of corner depth. We blew up 30. We gave up 30 points in the fourth quarter against the Broncos. We should have had a win. Like that's the second loss this year that
Yeah.
could be blamed on Shane Bowen. And then I'm questioning now why we haven't fired him yet, but I think it's because Day will become the scapegoat next if everything goes wrong. So I don't want to go long winded here. I can go on and on and on about this, but I'm going to ask you guys like just me. You can talk my ledge. Just keep me to stay positive. Giants 2-6. It's not looking positive. I'll go Brian. Brian, you have your hands up. What do you think? Do you agree with me? Do you think they need a clean house? Do you think Dable gets another year? Shane gets another year because they found their franchise quarterback? What are your thoughts, Brian? I'll go to you first.
So if I'm Mara, right, this is my plan for 2020, end of 2025 into 2026. You're realistically going to win one, maybe two more games
Yeah.
this season based on strength of schedule. And I really think it's one because I believe you'll beat Washington, but the Raiders are going to blow you out at home just because
Oh,
it's what's going to happen at the end of the season.
no.
So Dart's your guy. Dable has his you got to look at your pairs, right? Dan Campbell has Gibbs and Goff. Those are his guys, right? Dable now has Dart and Scatterbo. That got derailed now with the leg injury. You have Tyrone Tracy. He's your guy too. I think he's an equivalent player, to be honest.
Mhm.
Scatterbo is going to get hurt eventually, like a Peyton Hillis, just because of the style
Yeah.
of play. He's not Brandon Jacobs size, where he plays like Brandon Jacobs, but he isn't Brandon
He's not a
Jacobs
size.
size,
Yeah, agreed.
right?
Yep.
The best thing for you to do is lose out. You get a top pick, and you can trade it for some players, or trade down in the draft to a team like Dallas, who has two picks in this draft. Get some guys. There, Dallas is going to probably want to hit on, let's say, an edge rusher high up, something like that, right? You look for a team with assets that could make moves. The Rams, same thing like that. Get your capital, rebuild for next year. I like Daboll as a person. I almost see like a Vance Joseph kind of thing where like he was a Broncos head coach and now he's a defensive coordinator. I think Daboll is a coordinator kind of guy.
Yeah.
I see him as an OC. I personally think that this team needs a defensive coordinator as a head coach. I think you need someone playing smash mouth football, right? Who can go in there and just get it done. I personally think Robert Saleh would be a perfect head coach of the New York Giants. I think the Jets got ruined because of Woody Johnson, but I think that defensive scheme and him going into New York again after dealing with it would be a great move. So I think that you have a lot of potential. You have your guy. Now it's time to get assets because they need the assets. And you have a guy, Wandell Robinson, who's going to be a 1,000-yard receiver this year. It looks like if he stays healthy, just based on the way stats are going right now. You have Malik Neighbors. Theo Johnson's a good tight end. You have two solid running backs. You get an offensive lineman in a trade or in a free agent acquisition. You load up on the defense. I think you have a good shot next year to make the playoffs, to be honest, if you play your cards right.
Yeah. No, I mean, like I said, there's definitely positives on this team going forward, especially on the defensive end and obviously having a franchise quarterback. It's just I do wonder with Mara, especially this offseason, kind of making it sound like it was a make or break year. If he could be like, oh, we're 4-14, whatever the hell, if not worse, and is like, oh yeah, we're just gonna run it back again. Like I think that's where I'm at a point now watching this season of how can you sell to the fans and how can you sell to this team that you're gonna bring these guys back. And
Mm.
that's where I think is where I'm confused now. Because again, it's like, okay, Dable Dart, oh, we're not now everyone's like, well, you're not gonna let him coach his guy. But the thing is with that is that now that this job becomes way more enticing for head coaches out there, for GMs out there if you clean house. So I do agree. I think there's pieces here and you could build on this and you could trade down, you can do a lot of stuff. But I really wonder if Shane and Dable are going to be the two people that do that. But Desmond, I'll go over to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brian talk. I know you had some things when I was having my little rant. What are your thoughts?
It's hard to say exactly what's the most pressing thing, for the Giants this year because I feel like there's a few gaps in your team. Like I think you need another receiver to go opposite of Malik. I like
Mhm.
Wandell, but he feels more like a three than a two, and just in
Agreed.
my personal opinion.
Yep, agreed.
I think you could use another offensive lineman because some of these like runs you're breaking off are just like, Dart finding a way to
Yeah.
escape the pocket or Scadaboo finding a way to like run somebody over, not really creating huge holes like you would kind of need. And then your secondary is just kind of trash. I'm sorry.
No,
I mean, it's
no,
just you
it's
guys.
fair.
I would invest in like corners and safeties in the draft, but like, yeah, I think you wanna lose. I mean, you're 2-6. We have the same schedule, NFC East teams.
Yep.
The schedule's ridiculous this year. I mean, it makes more sense to tank and get better draft picks than try to what, like sneak into the playoffs at 9-8. I
Yeah.
mean, if you even could. I just don't think it's even worth it at this point. I think you should be sellers at the trade deadline, try to get some assets and just focus on next year. I mean, you lost Scadaboo and Malik Neighbors, and it was already tough sledding in the NFC this year. The NFC is better than I've seen in years. I think
Yeah.
when we talk about playoff teams, like 1 through 7, they could all go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So I think this is the year where you kind of like just try to fall back a little bit and pick up some assets.
Yeah, yeah, and I agree. And I'm gonna Alex. I'll go over to you before we move on. Is that yeah? That's what I'm saying. It's like I know we're probably gonna end up losing a lot. I just know how this team's gonna work. I've seen this for the last 10 years. But yeah, like I was saying, it's like I'm fine with that decision, and I know we're not competing this year. It's more of the future outlook. I'm like, we're going through insanity again and bringing these guys back, and then we're next year. I'm talking about next year, next podcast. I'm talking to you
Yeah.
guys right now that we're 2-6 yet again, right? And it's like, well, what the hell are we doing here? So that's why I'm now like I'm getting to the point where I know I can watch this team. I'm happy now. Like last few years, I knew by this time, you guys all knew me. I did not want to watch the Giants. I was miserable on Sundays. Now it's like, okay, I know this team has chances to upset teams, especially with Jackson Dart at quarterback. It's just now looking forward of like, well, which direction is now going to go? Is he cleaning house because now it's more enticing for play, or is he just like, well, I'm going to give Dable and Shane really one more chance here now that you definitely have your guy. So that's where my thing is going forward is being here at 2-6, and it's like, well, what the hell the future of this team is? Not that they're going to lose, that they're compete in games, and I hope to see that. It's more of like bigger picture of what the hell we're going to do. So Alex, I'll let you go to you. What were your kind of thoughts after hearing everyone, especially with the Giants?
I agree with a nice mix, a nice blend of what Brian and Desmond to say in this terms of their assessment. I would disagree with the coaching hire. I think it's a little too early to kind of necessarily gut that coaching staff just yet. I do like Dable. I think that there's potential with the connection with Jackson Dart. We know that cultivated energy between the quarterback and the head coach is so important. So if there is a spark of life there, I say preserve it and then build around that, whether that means replacing coordinators or what, or so on and so forth. I mean, I did a little research. They are 21 million under the cap. They're kind of like at the top third in terms of available budget. So I don't think you need to move a lot of assets unless you have guys that are underperforming for their salary, which will be the end of year kind of assessment. But I say stay competitive. You're not going to win many of these games. You may win one, maybe two games the rest of the year. You'll probably beat us, and you'll probably beat the Commanders. But I think preserving what you have in terms of your building blocks, your foundation for that front four on defense. Still love Lawrence, even though he's in a kind of a in a rough phase right now. Love Brian Burns. He's been having a great year. There's a lot to be excited about, except especially with a dual Carter. So, um, you know, obviously Scatterboy, you get him back healthy. I think, like you guys mentioned, they kind of need another slot receiver, kind of a second or a third guy to accompany Wandell and then Neighbors when he comes back healthy, to keep the offense more dynamic. But really clean up those corners. Make your bread and butter your defense, and then
Yep.
and then lean on that to really play, short series and short fields for Jackson Dart because for a young quarterback, that's the easiest way to build confidence.
Yeah, completely agree. I love some of the pieces in the secondary for times. Brian, I'll go to you for last
Yeah.
comments too. But I love some pieces in the secondary. I think Debo sometimes I love Cordell Flat. The fact that they got hurt in the Eagles game shows why the Eagles beat their ass because Deontay Banks has no idea what the hell he's doing out there anymore. His confidence has been destroyed since Bowen came in. That's another guy who I think could leave this Giants team and finally reach his potential. I would not be surprised if the Eagles bring him in this like offseason, just to stick it to the Giants. And next thing you know, this guy is a great corner. I
Oh,
wouldn't be
of course.
surprised that in the freaking slightest if he's the next guy. But right now he has no idea what the hell he's doing. And the fact we didn't have a Debo and then Flott went down, and I heard that like I was staining the outside of my house listening to this game, and I hear like Flott's down, and I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me. And then I'm like, oh, great. That means Banks is in with a practice squad guy. So it was a mess. So agreed. Secondary, I know Nubin's had his moments. I think Nubin's has potential. I really wonder what happens. So again, if they keep Dable and they keep Kafka, I wouldn't be truly upset. But Bowen's got to go. They need to bring in a coordinator that will, especially in this window with this pass rush, needs to get that done. And who knows? Maybe they bring another guy. And next, thing you know, Banks looks like he was as a rookie, which was really, really solid. But again, until Bowen's out of the freaking office and sent to the sun because I can't stand that guy anymore. We're yet to see how this defense can be. But Brian, I know you want to say the final thoughts real quick on
Yeah.
this.
I see a lot of comparisons with the very early late 80s, early 90s Dallas Cowboys here. Quarterbacks need adversity to learn how to win eventually, right?
Mhm.
So Michael Irvin gets drafted with no quarterback and has miserable, I think they won one game that year. That's like your Malik Neighbors. The next season they get Troy Aikman, right? And he has a horrible season, just getting his ass kicked basically. You have that in Jackson Dart right now. You're 1 year ahead. You have your running back. You don't need an Emmitt Smith late in the rounds. And now you have draft capital. And, they went on a run. And you have a better defensive line than them, to be honest with you. We had a trade to get Charles Haley from the 49ers after he was going crazy on in the locker room there. For you guys, you have the best defensive line, in my opinion, of like the last 5 years, best front four, if you count just talent.
Yeah.
You have all the opportunities to make a run now. It's just about getting pieces and a culture in that locker room that fosters winning. So that's, to me, it's culture building now.
Yeah, agreed. And we'll see. And I hope if
I hope
anything
we've
else,
talked you
fine.
off the ledge.
You guys slightly talked me off the
I'm
ledge.
trying to be
I feel-
positive. Listen, I
feel a
got to
little
be positive.
This is the only
Feeling a
NFC
little
East
positive.
Unity podcast out there.
Yeah.
Yes.
I should just be, I
We're
should
in the
just
best
become
division. Listen, we're in the best division because we hate and love each other at the same time.
Same time. Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
depends on who's playing who what week.
I'm here for the dysfunctional family.
Yeah, I was all too familiar with dysfunction and all that with his team, and now I've been dealing with it for 10 years, and it's kind of brutal. And I know people. I'm going to say two last things. I know people are like, well, you saw a Super Bowl 10 years ago, which is great. Yeah, I was super happy about that. But do I want to sit for 10 years of misery? No, I want to see my team be successful. And secondly, I just want to say real quick, and then we'll move on. Is can everyone just get off Abdul Carter's back because he doesn't have a ton of sacks this year? Everyone's
No,
been like, oh,
no.
he's been everyone's like, oh, no, he's not a good defender, he's a boss. The dude maybe not have a lot of, but look at his pressures, guys. This guy is a difference maker.
Don't care.
pressures more
Don't
as a
care.
skill.
Difference
Wrap up.
maker.
Micah Parsons in his rookie year had 85 tackles and 12 sacks.
Now, getting a quarterback off his spot is the most important thing. If you
Thank
can't
you.
get all the way there, like that's a bonus. It's a great, come
Brian
like contract
yeah.
negotiation time. but,
Brian
like,
Burns is looking like
pressures are
Offensive
important.
Player of the Year because you know why? He's finishing what Carter is starting. All right,
Oh, yeah.
I'll
I'll
say
say
eating.
one thing.
He's
I'll
eating.
say one thing on Carter right now. He is a thinner defensive end, right? Which Micah Parsons struggles with, even still to this day. I think you need to play Abdul Carter. You honestly need to run a 4-3 defense where you put him as an
No, I
interior
agree. Yeah.
outside linebacker stacked over Brian Burns, and you just have to keep on just looping around and doing stunts and stuff like that. That's the best way to use him right now because of his speed. You need to be put him in 2-point stance and get him moving pre-snap and time up the line.
Yeah,
The
I completely agree with you. Again, that's why I think Bowen's the biggest idiot because he has no idea what he's doing with all this defensive talent and not putting him in spots to win. I also want to see, I actually want to see this. I want to see Kayvon Thibodeau in the middle just to see like him next to
Oh yeah,
Dexter because
yeah.
I think he has the strength, I think he has the speed to be
Hmm.
dynamic there, and then you have Burns and Carter on the outsides. I just want to see that four. And if Thibodeau is getting his ass beat by offensive linemen, then okay, then you have a good rotation. But at least I want to see it because I think Thibodeau has the skills to be really dynamic in that way, where you can put Burns and Carter on the outside and you have Thibodeau in the middle. And I just want to see that, but I don't think we are because Bowen has no idea what the hell he's doing half the time. Oh, I'm gonna drop everyone back 15 fucking yards and let them get all these easy yards. Thanks, Bowen. Okay, all right. There's that. I really just want Bowen sent to the sun if you guys didn't realize by now. Okay, so final thoughts on the week, everyone, before we kind of talk some other topics. Is there any game that stood out to you guys want to quickly bring up, or do you want to move on to the next subject? Desmond, was there anything from this week as we wrap up? Not a lot of close games this week, so not a lot of exciting things to talk about. But Desmond, anything that stood out to you this week?
There is so much parity in this sport right now. It is absolutely wild to me. You really, I mean, I know we say the phrase like any given Sunday. It
Mhm.
really feels like that this year. I don't
Hmm.
think anybody knows who's going to win the Super Bowl right now. No one who even knows who's going to be in the Final Four. It's so up in the air. I feel like every week there's just like some result that makes zero sense when you compare it to the week before. Like the Falcons getting blown out by the Dolphins. No one picked that. Don't tell
No,
me you picked it. No one
nope.
picked it.
My
Nope.
It's
parlay
just
didn't. I'll
like
tell you that.
My
I
pickup
just
did not help me.
I got nothing for you there. The Bears looking so great the last few weeks, then going to like
Mhm.
Baltimore and them beating them with a backup quarterback who looked terrible the last few times he was on the field. Like, no, I love this season, and I can't wait to see what happens next because I feel like this whole thing's wide open this year.
Yeah, completely agree with you. It's been fun. Again, this was the weird week that there wasn't a lot of close games, but again, it just shows the parity in the league, especially if you, like I said, look at that Dolphins Falcons game and you're like, yeah, no, Falcons got
No
this. They
one
need a
called that.
crucial win. Getting
Mhm.
your ass beat 34 to 10 by a team that looked like they're cleaning house is insane. Alex, last thoughts on this week. Anything stood out to you?
No, I mean Desmond kind of nailed on the head. Like this season is this entire league is all about parity. This is why people tune in. This is why bad teams have fan bases that go nuts. Um, I was really disappointed with a few teams. I mean, I was big on the Falcons from day one in the season, and they just completely let me down. They're Jekyll and Hyde this season.
Hmm.
I even though they played a competitive game, I was really disappointed that Flacco didn't close that game out for Cincinnati. I thought he was going to be a nice little comeback story this season, but they take another loss. Um, and yeah, I mean, I think what we saw, what we were expecting to see from a few other teams, but I was really expecting a little bit of a better fight from Pittsburgh, who we'll get to in
Oh
our
yeah.
Hmm.
next week as well. I thought that they could have had that game at home and really dropped the ball. Um, and truthfully, I mean, we were singing the praises about bad competitive teams such as the Saints. I thought on a wounded team with Tampa Bay, I thought they would have
Yeah.
put up more than 3 points and just kept
Hmm.
it competitive, but that looked one sided the entire way, and I was a little upset about that.
Yeah. Real quick on the Saints. I mean, Baker Mayfield doesn't throw a touchdown pass. Hurt me in fantasy big time this week. And the
Yeah,
Same,
fact that you
same.
still
yeah,
put
Yeah,
up 23 points, come on,
ugly game.
Saints.
Ugly game.
Ugly
Yeah,
game.
very
Come
much.
on,
Also, if you're
Saints.
looking at it lately, Emeka Egbuka without everyone around him is starting to look like a rookie.
Yeah. Okay.
of course. Yeah, he's getting
Okay.
blanketed.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
Yeah.
getting blanketed now
So
because he was
There's only
killing it
so many
when
Malik Neighborses out there, you
that's true.
know.
no, for sure. Yeah, I'm just saying that we have to pull the hype away from him a little bit. I'm honestly more impressed with Kate on that offense right now, stepping up.
He's always been solid though. Cade's always
So
up.
yeah,
But
he doesn't get his flowers enough though.
we're not going to go deep dive in Buka slander here because that Desmond right now has he's on a heater with that pick. All
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
as this
Look,
standout, offensive
I have him on
rookie there.
fantasy right now, and he's
Standout,
helping me out very
I
well.
got him on both my
standout pick. But
fantasy teams, you know.
I think that was one of the most accurate picks we've had on this podcast was with Desmond's pick of Emeka Buka. So no slander this week. No slander this
Yeah.
week. Bucks still get the win, but again, ugly game. Saints. How
Yeah.
the hell did you lose that game? I don't know. Brian, your final thoughts on this week before we kind of move on.
Dallas needs to scrap its entire linebacker core. Thank God, Marvin Overshawn's coming back. Hopefully, after that ACL injury, healing, he could be something over there. We need a pass rusher desperately. And our it's the worst defense I've seen in my entire lifetime, and I'm impressed. I'm actually impressed on how bad they get it.
This is a good
And
segue into the trade deadline talk.
exactly, exactly. So that's enough for Dallas. I feel bad for that. Every year, it's like since 2007, basically, when I really remember watching them, I have watched probably 5 years worth of top 50 all time offensive seasons just for a team ever just get wasted as a Cowboy fan. And it's just very upsetting when you just look at guys like Romo and Dak and Des Bryant and CeeDee Lamb who put all this effort in and literally lay it out and get hurt and continue to do it. And the other side of the ball just can't do a single thing. It's disheartening. And then one thing about this week I'll say is, you know, we never look at, players and just say, you tried your best, good for you. You're a man for what you did in the time you had. Carson Wentz is done for the season on a non-throwing shoulder injury, torn labrum, and played through all that pain
Yeah.
to just prove that he is wrongly put into the bench role after putting up decent numbers in Washington when he played, decent numbers on the Colts teams, and when he's filled in other teams, Rams and Chiefs. And now in the Vikings, I thought he looked very well, better than J.J. McCarthy. And it's sad because I think he would have stayed the starter this season.
Yeah.
Good for you for putting on a good few weeks, and I hope you have a good recovery. Second part of that, J.J. McCarthy might be a bigger bust than Trey Lance right now.
Oh, we're gonna find
We'll
out
see.
this week,
We
aren't
got
we?
to find out this
Because
week.
Sam Darnold had to play. Then you leave him believe in him, and then you're literally starting a guy without a shoulder when his foot hurts. Tape it up and go on the field. The guy has a literally torn shoulder. That's literally every time. Not even every time you walk, it hurts because there's this momentum and movement, and you're asking him to throw the ball
And
50
he was
yards.
taking a beating too. In some of
Beating,
those games, he was
beating,
taking a
beating.
Yeah.
It's just like if you don't have your confidence in a rookie who with a foot injury, like what do you like? Grow up. This team does not know what they're doing, and it's a shame.
Yeah, no, I agree. I give props to Carson Wentz for battling it out these last 2 weeks because, I mean, my God, that guy was taking a beating. And the fact you see the laundry list of injuries he had in that shoulder, I have no idea
Yeah.
how that dude was
And then
waking
the
up and be
hand
like, I'm
injury in
playing
this
today.
game,
Yeah,
the hand injury, he got a full thumb straight to Khalil Mack's helmet, and
yeah,
you could literally just see his thumb bend back to his
yeah.
wrist.
So he toughed it
Yikes.
out, and I hope another team gives him an opportunity when he's healthy because he's proven that he could start, he can play well. And yeah, I mean the fact that he toughed it out for this team that he's just trying to ball out for, and again was impressive. We'll see what happens in the conference this week. I mean we had him in week 1, we all were speaking his praises, and then it kind of fell off. Then he got hurt, so it's interesting to see what we say about him next week. Before we go into our trade deadline talk, it would feel weird to go from talk about the week to bounce it back to the week. So we're gonna go with our awards real quick of the week, and then we'll go into our trade deadline talk. So we can go a little bit quicker on this. We'll start off with the offensive player of the week, offensive award of the week. Alex, I'll start with you. Who's your offensive award of the week going to?
There were a lot of big numbers that jumped off the board this week, but I got to go with James Cook, 19 for
Ooh, okay.
19 for 216 and two tutties. Dominant performance, controlled the clock, beat underrated Carolina team despite what people think. I thought it was a really big bounce back win off a bye, and it just set them on the right track. So
Like it, like it. Brian, who's your offensive award of the week going to?
National Tight Ends Day weekend, we could say. So, my opinion, Tucker Kraft just balled
yeah,
out for Green Bay, and it's funny. Green Bay just refuses to have a number one wide receiver. They have a number one tight end though. 7 catches, 143, and 2 touchdowns, and that doesn't even speak, the volume of how well he played. Because if you watch the blocking he did in this game as
Yep.
well, phenomenal athlete, and good for him on a National Tight End Day weekend. Nice win.
Love that pick for sure, and props to seeing Christian Watson back on the field for the Packers, coming back from ACL and looking good for Green Bay. So props to Watson coming back, and we'll do that. But now the Packers offense is looking better and better, which is kind of scary. Desmond, who is your offensive award of the week going to?
In a game where they absolutely had to have it, 4 touchdown passes, Tua Tagovailoa. I mean,
Okay.
they needed that game because I think they're like one more loss away from the whole thing being blown up.
Blown up,
So
yeah.
definitely a clutch moment to go into Atlanta, have a really big offensive game. Atlanta really isn't that bad. I just don't know that Atlanta knows what to do half the time. That's a whole different story.
They look
Tua.
confused, right? Consistently, like just
Yes.
always confused. Yeah,
I
all
It's
right.
always
no one
always
knows what's going
confused.
on in Atlanta.
Even the head
Always.
coach just has a Raheem Morris just has that blanket face that he's
Yeah.
seen a ghost at all times.
Yeah.
He reminds me of who was the coach of Miami and then the Jets
Oh,
Oh,
recently. Gase.
oh my God.
He's
Gase.
Adam
Yes,
Gase.
Adam Gase.
He
yeah,
reminds me of Adam Gase, just lost.
Yeah.
at all
Looking up
times.
all over the place.
All time.
Yes.
But yeah,
What the hell
no,
is happening?
big game from Tua. So yeah, props to them. And again, it leads me to wonder what the hell I'm even going to do for this Thursday night pick that we'll get to later
Ugh,
in the show
Ugh.
here.
Yeah,
gross.
this is gonna be an interesting Thursday night pick. I'm surprised no one went with this, so I love that all three of you guys picked different players. I might be obvious here, but I'm going with Jonathan Taylor, offensive player of the week.
Yeah.
It just seems every single week he's doing
Every single
something
week.
absolutely stupid. 12 rushes, 153 yards, 2 touchdowns, long run of 80 yards. I mean, come on. This guy is in the conversation for MVP as running back, which we haven't really seen in a long, long time. So I'm giving Jonathan Taylor my offensive player of the week because, like I said, it just seems every single time group chats, my other friends' group chats are lasering us JT did something again, and I'm like,
Yeah.
wait, what? Then I look at Red Zone, he's doing something freaking absolutely insane.
Mhm.
So my offensive player of the week goes to Jonathan Taylor, and it's been super exciting to see him bring this Colts team. And props also to I hate saying it, but good on Daniel Jones that he has a star running back again next to him, and Jonathan Taylor, who is just absolutely dominating. So with that, we will go to the defensive award of the week. Desmond, or do you want to say something?
Yeah, no, I want to do the defensive. I wanted to go first because I was bad, co-host here. I didn't do my homework for this particular topic here, so I'm
Mm.
going to steal the easy one. I apologize to the rest of the group here. I'm going with Miles Garrett,
Yes, son.
Mm.
5 sacks, because I mean, like, let's just be
In a
honest here.
loss.
In a
I
loss.
week.
mean, they're always
Oh God.
losses, but like,
Poor guy.
the Browns fans are living in eternal purgatory. But I think right now it is clear for me to say, because like, there's been debate over the years, but I think that he is 100% the best defensive end in the league over
Yeah.
everybody.
Oh yeah.
Over because there was always debate between like him, TJ Watt, Nick Bosa, the few other people that you probably throw into that,
Give me my guy.
Max Crosby, Max Crosby.
Media coverage. That's all media coverage.
But like, Miles Garrett, definitively number one. He's number one. Everyone else is fighting for the second spot.
Let me ask you this, guys: has he surpassed J.J. Watt yet? Because he
In
it's very
terms of
similar.
all-time edge
Very
rushers?
similar. His all-time just like attributes, in my opinion. They're similar size if you really look at them in style of play, and I feel like that's really the only comp he's really him and like Aaron Donald they're really comparing against these days now. Of
Yeah.
kind of. I think he has 111 sacks already after
Yeah.
that game.
Fastest to that number, I think, before the age of 30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he needs another DPOY because I think Watt had two, but I think by the end of it he might be better, which I thought I would never say.
He's
Yeah.
faster than Watt.
He
Yeah.
stays
Yeah,
healthy.
no, good.
He doesn't
Yeah.
even catch touchdowns now.
Yeah, yeah, that too. I think you could make the argument that he's surpassing JJ as one of the most dominant players. I mean, he's arguably the most dominant defensive player of this era. So I wouldn't be like you're out of your mind if you said that you pick Miles Garrett over
I'm not
JJ
saying it's
Watt.
it yet, but it's sniffing it.
No, it's close.
starting. It's starting.
He's
To feel
closing the gap though.
Yeah.
He's definitely closing
Yeah.
the gap on that. But I think like if like I said, if you talk to diehard football fans like we are, and you're like, you know what, I'm going to pick Miles Garrett over JJ Watt. We're not going. I don't think I'm going to be. You're on planet delusional with that.
No.
Like I'm not. I don't think you're like crazy with that
Yeah.
statement.
All
I
right,
think it's
good.
an argument that is positive. I think it's something that. But we just had a great conversation on it. Like I think we're
Yeah.
getting in that in Miles Garrett, and
It's starting to feel like that. It's like that Reggie
yeah.
White, JJ Watt, and him kind of like trio that I always think of at pure DN.
And I know he got paid, and I will always wonder, like, if you're somewhere else and chasing Super Bowls and is on a contending team, like, where will we be speaking of Miles
Yeah.
Garrett? Like, you put him
Money
on,
for
let's say,
nothing.
the Eagles, you put him on Buffalo, you put him on, like, are we talking about this guy is like, it's a wrap in the league. Like,
Anywhere
this
else
team's
is a home record.
dynasty,
Yeah.
dynasty. Like,
Yeah.
like,
Dynasty.
it's crazy. It's crazy that Cleveland got lucky with him, and he decided to stay in Cleveland. Like it's just lucky that he was like, I'll stick around here and be your franchise.
They got to
guy.
have low taxes there. They got to have low taxes.
Something. I don't know.
It's only
I don't know
understand.
what he must love about Cleveland, but he loves something. He's sticking there for 10 years as of right now. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. 2 years down the line, it might be like, get me the hell out of here. Alex, who do you have as your defensive player of the week?
I'm going to give a little love over on the Los Angeles Chargers. Justin Ebogbe. It's his fifth year in the league. He had 2.5 tackles this week for loss, and he also had two really solid sacks to secure a win against Minnesota. A guy who never gets his time in the spotlight. They got a lot of good edge rushers there, and the Chargers and that defense is loaded. But wanted to give him his moment in the spotlight. I thought he had a great week.
Love it. Brian, who's your pick?
For me, this segues into the trade candidates. Jordan Brooks on Miami.
Son of
You
a
know,
bitch. Why is everyone taking
yeah,
my picks?
10 tackles. I said this one way earlier. 10 tackles, 7 solo, a sack, and 3 tackles for loss, and another QB hit. Stellar game, especially when you're on the trade block, most likely,
Yeah.
as an option. So you're
Hmm.
just proving to people why you're valued.
Yeah, like it. Took my pick. I guess I'm going with the easy one because he got named the player of the week in the NFC. I'm gonna go Anthony Nelson. I know that game was absolutely boring, but at least he made it somewhat exciting. Uh, 2 sacks, interception, and return for a touchdown and a forced fumble. You do that on a game like again where your quarterback doesn't throw a touchdown pass, and you're able to help in scoring. You deserve
Yeah.
some stats in the like I said in that game that was absolutely brutal to watch. At least he was kind of fun. So I'm gonna go with the easy one, other than Miles Garrett, with Anthony Nelson because he got named the NFL Defensive Player of the Week. But with that, we're gonna segue. We've been segueing it a little bit longer now, but we're gonna talk some trade deadline talk. There's a lot of conversations around the league right now. Are contenders gonna buy in, or some weird set of teams that are struggling gonna actually buy some players? Like I said, you kind of have an argument: are the Giants gonna make a trade for another wide receiver, looking at the next year, maybe pair up with Malik? I don't think they do it, but we'll see. But it's going to be an interesting time. And we're doing this now because next week just so happens to be the trade deadline. We'll give everyone the update on that podcast as well as we're looking closer and closer into that. So I guess we can have a broad conversation on trade deadline, but if we can also do player specific on who you guys think might be some people standing out. So Desmond, I'll start with you here on the trade deadline talk because there's some players you think, or is there some teams you think that might be buyers, or teams that you think are going to be buyers but actually not going to do anything. So Desmond, I'll go with you. How do you want to kick off this trade deadline talk?
You know what? I was kind of touching on this the first episode of our season, so I'm gonna like circle back to it now.
Hmm.
And I'm giving away one of my picks for rapid fire later here and this thing, so I'm spoiling a little bit here too. I think the Cowboys, and this, Brian's probably not gonna, he might not agree with me here. I think the Cowboys are gonna win this week. And at which point I think the Cardinals are gonna be 2-6. I think it's time to blow that thing up. Like
Oh,
I
yeah.
really do. I think it's time for the Cardinals to blow it up. Kyler Murray has not been the quarterback you needed him to be. You keep trying to like build around him. It's not working. I don't know if Gannon's the right coach for them or not, but like it is consistently just like ridiculous, like how the team really does have talent, and yet they
Yep.
can't seem to put it together. So I think you got to clean house, start all over with Arizona. So I think after they lose to the Cowboys this week, I think it's time to start talking about dumping Kyler Murray, maybe just like seeing if someone's willing to take him and then just
Mhm.
starting all over.
Yeah, I don't hate that. I think the Cardinals are a team that's definitely going to sell. They have some pieces that could be enticing, for sure. And I completely agree with you, Desmond. I think they're a team that, especially if they lose this weekend, to be on the lookout, to them to just start cleaning house and get as much draft capital as they can. Because I think, agree, I think they do have some pieces, but overall, it just seems year over year that they're a disappointment. And I think you can point it to Kyler Murray, especially at this point where you see
Yeah.
that
He's just
he
not
doesn't
getting it
have the
done.
motivation. He's not going to get done, but also
Yeah.
there's
And he's had a
moments where you
long
just
leash,
he's
you
had a
know?
long leash, and there's been
Mhm.
constant moments. And I know the easy meme is like, oh, he just loves Call of Duty and he like plays, but like
Mhm.
you see those things, and you're just like,
Yeah.
well, is your head in it? And if you look, like I saw something recently, and then we can move on. It's just like I saw like all the starting quarterbacks in the league, and even some backups, and it's like these are their quarterback camps, these are their quarterback guru, like their coaches, all this stuff that
Mhm.
they have in the off season. Kyler Murray, no one. Like it's just so you see that and it's like, well, that's jarring. Like Daniel Jones
Yeah.
and all these other guys and around the league have these quarterbacks and these camps that they go to and all this other stuff and these guys they work out with. Kyler Murray, no one. So again, if that's how the Cards want to go, you're going to be in a lack mode if you have a quarterback that does not want to
Yeah.
be or like have the mentality to be an all time great because he has all the intangibles to do it. We've seen it, but I think it just year over year he just gives up halfway through and his team's losing. And you just
Yeah.
can't have that.
Yeah, the very
Yeah.
last thing I'll say about this, like I think Phoenix is actually a decent sports town.
Yeah, I
And I
agree.
think they just deserve a better football team out there. And they
Yeah.
haven't had a good product for this whole Kyler Murray era. And I
No.
think, it's beyond at a certain point, I know that people give like Eagles fans, Giants fans, Cowboys fans a lot of hard times here because like we are relentlessly heckling our own teams, like, hey, what are they doing? Like, get it together. But like I think to a degree you kind of like need that sometimes because I think too many of these fan bases are too passive. Like
Yeah,
I hope the Cardinals
Agreed.
fans
agreed.
need to like just start like getting in the ear of the organization a little bit because I think it's a little bit of an embarrassment just how consistently bad they are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
agreed. I mean, and if you look back, and especially us growing up, it's like how fun were the Kurt Warner, Larry Fitz Cardinals teams? Like we
Right.
just
Yeah.
loved
Yeah.
Anquan
tuning in.
Bolden.
Like
Carson
Yeah.
we
Palmer.
wanted to know
Carson
Carson
Palmer
Palmer.
Cardinals were
Even
great.
like we just loved watching
Yeah.
those teams. They were fun and exciting. And now it just feels since they drafted Kyler Murray that like I don't care what I see them on Red Zone. Cool, awesome. Kyler
We're
Murray
going
does something
back to the
cool. He
Kurt
throws to
Warner.
Marvin Harrison. Finally does something awesome. Like
Yeah.
great, but like back then, there when it was especially with Warner back then, it was like, oh, we want to watch this Cardinals team. Like they are
No,
freaking
yeah.
fun. They are
Yeah.
fun, and I hope because I agree with you, Desmond. I think Phoenix is a great sports city, and they're very diehard fans. Like they deserve better, and I think we'll see what happens. I think their team look out that they're just going to start selling, and then finally start this rebuild, this long overdue rebuild, and hopefully greener pastures are for Arizona. But we'll go to Alex. I'll go over to you, Alex. Is there any players you think are going to be dealt? Is there anything, a team, like we just said, we talked to the Cardinals a little bit at length. Is there something that's coming around the trade deadline that's going to surprise you, or is there just a topic around trade that you want to bring up?
Well, I'll go for some immediate compatible fixes for both teams involved. So the easy one right off the top of the bat, I have the Bills with Trey Hendrickson in Cincinnati. I
Mm.
think it's kind of a black pill if you're Cincinnati, but it seems like the no-brainer because that defense is already a teardown. It's hard to hold an asset hostage like that in good faith. Bills clearly need some defensive help clearly on the front four. They're starving for it, especially, as you get further into the season. I won't belabor that too much, but I think the Chiefs, Alvin Kamara seems like a really great fit.
Oh.
I don't know how available he is in terms of the money being dealt, but I think that you look at Kellen Moore's offensive situation. He's going to want his fresh set of guys. You go into the draft, you go in with a fresh set of picks and try to get maybe a running back at like the end of the third or maybe early in the fourth. Really build and cultivate a new environment there in New Orleans. So I think it seems like a good fit for both teams involved. And the third one I have is Roger McCreary from Tennessee, the cornerback going to either Dallas or the Lions. I think it's a great fit for both. More particularly for the Lions because they're so decimated in their secondary. They really need help to keep this engine, roaring. And I think that trading out of conference is going to help both teams compatibly. But with Tennessee, you got a lot of younger guys there. Cam Ward is clearly the focal point. I would get that offense right before you get the defense right.
Yeah, I like how you picked.
Yeah.
The only thing I want to say to counter it is with Kamara. I just want to look at Kamara. I was going to stage this to you
Sure,
guys.
of course. Yeah, yeah.
He did say that if he gets traded out of New Orleans, that he will most likely retire. He said, "I would rather sip pina coladas elsewhere." Like that's like one of his
That's
quotes that he said
crazy.
recently about that.
I
Yeah.
can't
But
believe
I
that.
want to stage it because Alex brings up an interesting point.
Yeah.
If he gets traded to a contender like the Chiefs,
Right.
do you think Kamara is kind of like, okay, I can win a Super Bowl.
I
I'm
think
not
he's
going
seeing
to
it.
retire? Or do you think he's just such a diehard, like I'm being a saint through and through, that he will not do that? So Desmond, I'll go quick. We can go around the horn. Alex,
Before
Brian,
before you
but
before
yeah,
you hand it
Alex,
off,
you go.
I'm sorry, before you hand it off,
No.
I would say point blank, if that is the mode and method within the Chiefs organization, you fly your best execs down there, you get a nice dinner, you really swoon him, you show him the highlight reel, the championship tape, and then you go to town on him.
I love it. Desmond, do you think if in this scenario, if Alvin
Yeah.
Kamara, he said he's going to he will retire if he gets traded, but if he goes to Kansas City, do you think he is going, or do you think he's like, nah, I'm good?
You know what? People say that, and sometimes, you can have a conversation or two that will change it. I'm pretty sure Tony Gonzalez was saying something similar before he ended up going to
Yeah.
Atlanta. And, I think a couple better decisions would have led to a championship that year.
Yes, very true.
So, I mean, I think it kind of just depends on the situation itself, because I think you can talk any player into success, because at the end of the day, you play football because you want to win.
Yeah, agreed. Love it. If I'm Kamara and the Chiefs are coming knocking, I'm going there. You tell me no, I can play with Mahomes. I can play with all these guys in a great offense and potentially run the AFC. Hell yeah. Why am I going to stay in New Orleans when we stuck? But again, Kamara, it's not me. I'm not Kamara. We'll see. But Brian, I'll say the same question. Do you think
Yeah, I agree.
Kamara will stick in New Orleans or go to Kansas City?
I think Kansas City would be a great option for him. I think here's the only thing though: are they going to cut Pacheco or Hunt? So I think that he's all
I would
about
think they would move
usage.
on from Hunt.
See,
I
I
think you
think
keep
that's the
Pacheco.
person you keep. I think he's a
Ooh,
better running back because I think they ruined him with the coming back early last year from the injury. He's never been the same. That's why I'm worried about Scatterboo because a lower leg injury like that
Yeah,
really
exactly.
rocks you as
Yeah.
a smaller running back. I personally think that if he is going to go to a team, I see the Chargers being an option mainly just because I don't
Yeah.
really trust Hampton. I like what's his name, Vidal,
Vidal.
but
Yeah.
he's like shaky, you know. So I'm trying to think of another team I was thinking of before. Well, who was it?
Vikings could use him. I guess if they were
Vikings.
contending. They're not really contending.
Yeah, they're not really contending. I mean, like if you wanted to go crazy, Buffalo, the 1-2 punch of Cook and Kamara would be insane.
That
Just because
would
they
be
have no,
insane.
if they can't get a receiver,
That'd be
get
off
a
the
get
charts,
if they
dude.
can't get a
Get the best
receiver, get a
receiving back
receiving
we've seen
running
in a
back.
long ass time.
Exactly. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? But for him, I think you go down there, you talk to him, and he's going to get paid in a trade. He'll get paid with the current contract, but you could also revise it. I would give him $250,000 a touchdown incentive.
A lot of money. I like
All
it. I
right.
like
You
it.
don't
All right,
want to.
but
You don't want to play. You don't want to go for a Super Bowl. You'll take $250,000 for a touchdown a
you've heard
game. I'll tell you that. You know what I mean?
Again, I like that's what I said. I like Alex's idea. You get the executives on the phone, you get them
Oh
out there,
yeah.
whatever.
I
Swoon,
don't
do
know if
whatever
you're
you can.
allowed to do that though in
Well,
the
it
NFL
Well,
could be
collusion.
the trade
Yeah.
could be like down, and then he's just like, you know what,
Yeah.
I'm walking away, and then
Yeah.
they be like, hey man, wait, like don't
Yeah.
not like on the like hey we're it might
Right.
be the finalized, and he's like, you know what, I'm actually gonna walk away, I don't give a shit, and then they
Mhm.
say, hey man, nope, wait a second, so we'll see. I like it, but I'll go over to you, Brian, again.
Mhm.
To give your teams any players or teams you think are going to be buyers.
He's got a whole sheet.
his whole
I have
sheet.
eight. I have 8 trades with draft pick
Oh,
acquisitions.
okay. Here
Right.
we
Ooh,
go.
So
okay,
half of them half of them are for Dallas. Right. Just
okay,
because
yep,
being a Dallas
fair
Cowboy
enough.
fan. So first one. Right. Dallas Cowboys trade for Jalen Phillips on Miami for a 4th and a 6th round pick. You could swap that out also for Bradley Chubb. Just depends
Hmm.
on who's available. Same thing for Dallas. Jordan Brooks for a 3rd round pick. We need a linebacker desperately. Tariq Woolen is now cornerback like 3 in Seattle. He's a
Yep.
great player. He just slid. 4th round pick to Dallas would make sense. Tony Pollard to the Chiefs, which I think makes more sense
Yeah.
right now for a 4th round pick. I like his style of play. The way Dallas used him, I think Chiefs would use him. I think Kirk Cousins to Minnesota for a 6th round pick and a round
Oh.
7 swap also
Oh.
makes sense for insurance. If you think you have any hope this season at 3 and 4, you need to have someone because you obviously McCarthy is injury prone and he might not be the answer. You bring back Cousins, you probably will be a starter again next year.
Okay.
After
Kind of
that,
offense.
I like Chuba Hubbard to the Patriots for a 3rd round pick. The
Mm.
Carolina looks good.
Yeah.
Rico Dowdle is awesome. You have him on a 1-year deal. You could always re-sign him. He'll have opportunity. Chuba Hubbard's great, but he's getting older now, right? He had a lot of years on the bench, not really starting. You get some draft capital for that, and your team's you're at 500. You can make some moves. I think the Patriots trade back for Jacoby Myers for a 5th round pick. I think that makes a lot of sense for them.
I like all those choices.
And I have one more, and
Yep.
it's the craziest one I have. I said it before to Alex and Desmond. I think the Dallas Cowboys, if they lose to the Arizona Cardinals, right, it would be before the deadline, right, or the day before, or 2 days before. You trade George Pickens for a 2nd round pick and a middle linebacker to the Buffalo Bills.
Okay.
I know.
Okay.
Jerry
What
Jones.
you
Jerry
said.
Jones is not. Jerry Jones will not pay him $30 million. He refuses to do these things. If it's how he is, if that was the case, he would have paid Micah because of impact on a team, right? We always somehow Dallas always finds a wide receiver too. Miles Austin, Terrence Williams. We find guys always. So we don't need to pay them. They want to come to us because when you have a wide receiver 1 like CeeDee Lamb, you are now in single coverage. You're going to have 1,000 yards just by default. Michael Gallup had 1,000 yards across from Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb, right? So you trade him to Buffalo. They get their true number 1, what they wanted Keon Coleman to be. And as Dallas, you get back a middle linebacker, maybe a defensive end like Greg Rousseau. And I think he could pull a 2nd or a 3rd round pick.
Yeah, I know.
You have
to have a realistic conversation with yourself. Strength of schedule. We're not going anywhere. Our defense can't be competitive in the playoffs, even if we win a wild card game. You have 2 first-round picks coming up in addition from Green Bay. Get another high pick. and then just start next in the off season, switch it up and start fire selling and making trades.
Yeah.
Because realistically, I hate drafting players. I don't believe in it. It's a 50-50 shot your person's going to be a good or bad. Trade the fucking pick for a Pro Bowler.
Yeah.
That's
Can
it.
you
Get the guaranteed money.
can you barter all these deals with Buffalo directly with Mark?
Yeah, I should.
Yeah.
I should.
Yeah.
Listen. I think I listed 8 ones. I'm going to hold this. I'm going to see how many of them actually
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah,
There you go. There you go.
keep it for record. The only thing I like the Patriots pick with the trade. The only thing I'm confused about is what the hell are they going to do with Henderson? Like I see reports that they're on the market for a running back. You just used a second round pick on a running back. What the hell is New England going to do with Henderson? Like if you
Yeah,
bring
it's
if you're
style of
bringing a
play.
Chubb, you're bringing a guy. I won't see it happening, and this is one of the players I want to talk about. I think interesting. Like there's no way the Jets are trading the Patriots Brees Hall, but it's just like
No, never. Well,
but
that's not that. That wouldn't work with that offense, though, right? So
no, it
it's like
wouldn't. But
Vrabel
it's
needs a bigger back. He might trade in the offseason for Derrick Henry. That's
yeah.
what might happen. That
But
might be like the end of it.
But the thing is that like you spent a second round pick again, and you look at fan, everyone's excited, and he had some crazy plays in preseason, and then he comes right, and it's like he's out of the rotation, he barely gets touches. It's like
Mhm.
you spend a second round pick, and then reports are coming out that you're in the market for a running back. Like
Yeah,
that's where I'm just like, what is? Can someone just give us answers on Henderson,
yeah.
please? Can Vrabel just be like, I don't like him, or does Vrabel just be like, he's not
Yeah.
establishing the playbook, he's not
Yeah, of
finishing our
course.
scheme? I think a lot of people will be more understanding if he's like, yeah, we thought he was going to work out. It's just not working out in our scheme. Like, we want to bring someone
Mhm.
that's a little bit more established. Like, again, that's where I think it's like with the report, and I don't hate that trade that you proposed. I think it's something to
Mhm.
look out for. But again, that's why you look at it. It's like, well, they spent a second round pick on Henderson. What the hell
Yeah,
are we going to
I
do adding
always
another
think
running back?
I always think it's like you scout someone and then you actually see them on the field like fully day to day, right? Like the
Yeah.
Pittsburgh Steelers drafted that guy running back Johnson, and he barely
Yeah.
sees the field, and everyone thought he was going to be the starting running back over Warren and Gainwell, right? So it's just once you get in this, it's a different system. Very Vrabel likes bigger running backs, right?
Yeah.
Who could run north and south and just get it done in the trenches, pick three yards up a clip. That's why Stevenson is getting the more carries right now because he's the bigger of the two, and he's good with getting those tough yards, short distance. And I think Stevenson's a great running back. I think on another team he'd flourish. I just think his time in Pittsburgh Patriots is over. They need a bell cow running back, old school. So that's why I like Chuba Hubbard there because he gives that ability.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yep.
Really good. I think it's something we got now. Again, have that list. We again
Yeah.
we use Nico's draft picks and like we've kept track of that. Let's see Brian's trade stat sheet and see how he ends up at the end of the trade deadline. I was just going to bring up a player we can discuss quickly, and then we're going to kind of move on to some other fun conversations. It is Brees Hall. I think that is someone that is interesting to look at the
Yeah.
trade deadline, especially coming off the game he had. I would think again, and this is the state of the Jets right now, and with new coaching and stuff. Like I would think you want to build around a guy like Brees Hall, but he's been constantly these last few years in trade talks, and now again, especially after you see what he just did, you probably can get a third, maybe a conditional fourth that turns to a third. I think that's someone that's going to be very interesting if like the Jets decide to move on from him, or you keep him around because he is a really good offensive player, and I know he's had some injury history stuff, and you have some younger running backs there. Um, so that's why I wanted to quickly ask you guys real quick. I can go over to you, Desmond, first. Like, do you think it's worthwhile for the Jets to get draft capital now, move a guy like Brees Hall, or keep him around to kind of establish this offense with Brees Hall, with a Wilson when he's fully healthy, and now you really just you feel like you're a quarterback away, especially with Fields being up and down. So Desmond, I'll pose a question. That's my guy. I wanted to ask real quick about
Yeah.
Brees Hall and what you think about him as a trade deadline target.
I would trade him. I was actually just looking through the teams trying to figure out like where would Brees Hall go that would make the
Yeah.
most sense. And three teams jump out at me. And I think, if I am Pittsburgh, if I
Hmm.
am
Mhm.
Houston, and if I am Washington, I would want Brees Hall. I think that those teams really need a dominant running back, and it would actually really complete especially Washington. Washington has
Yeah.
been getting not really a whole lot from the running back position this year, and I think that Brees Hall down in Washington, Jets trading him out of conference wouldn't have to go too far. I think that could be a really big, just like boom for that team right now, who's really taking a huge step back this year, unfortunately for them.
Yeah.
Well, fortunate for
Uh,
me though.
yeah. Fortunate for you. But again, do I
Yeah.
really want to see him twice a season being
Yeah.
You know what?
for the
I don't want to
Commanders.
see
No, no,
Jackson Dart twice a year. I don't want to see
that's
CeeDee Lamb twice a year, but these things are
he just
unfortunately
adds
part
it
of
away.
life.
Happens.
But then you have Jaden Daniels and Brees Hall. That's a scary. There's a scary combo.
Yeah.
Brian,
It
what
is.
what are your kind of thoughts on Brees Hall kind of being the trade target? Do you think the Jets should keep him around,
Yeah.
get the assets when they can now in a losing season? What are your
Is
thoughts?
he up for contract? No.
I believe he is either up this year or next
He's
Okay.
year.
coming
Well,
up.
they'll be able to pick up the fifth year option. I think
Yeah.
they'll be too high of an asking price for him after the way he's playing this season. Where no one's going to want to give a second round pick for him because I think that's what he's probably valued at right now, just on impact to a team, right? When you're buying, you're desperate. But you know, the way the NFL is now, it's more running back by committee. I think a wild card throw in for this would be the Denver Broncos with J.K. Dobbins. I think that would be some lightning and thunder right there where you could really, really open it up for Bo Nix. If you want to make a splash, you have the record. You should be able to win the division. You have enough separation now in schedule to beat out the Chiefs in a 100-yard sprint. Get as much ammo as you can. It doesn't matter what the position is. When they're athletes, football players are athletes first, then position, right? You high school, college, NFL, you'll move to different positions, and then
Yep.
eventually they'll figure out where you play. He can play the slot. He could play tailback. He could play wishbone as the wing. He's an athlete. He's a stud. Get him on the team, make plays.
Yeah. No, I agree. And then, I mean, I know Broncos, I like that decision. I know they have RJ Harvey. I know there's some concerns around him and Dobbins is, being well. You have three running backs there. It's a pretty good trio, if you ask me,
And
between
and
Dobbins.
Dobbins is he's
Yeah. And he
always
always gets banged up
one
at
cut
yeah,
away from an
yeah.
injury,
He
right?
always
It's
gets
a
banged up at the
shame.
worst time, too.
Yeah.
Worst
I
time.
mean, like week 10 is where he starts feeling bruises out of nowhere. So it's like
Yeah.
you're coming close soon now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you bring in Hall and then like let's
Yeah.
say
And I
let's
love him. He's one of my favorite running
yeah.
backs in the league. I love
Oh, I
his
love
style of
Dobbins,
play.
yeah.
But he's made of glass.
He is made a glass. And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like you have like that's the thing though. It's like let's say Dobbins does get hurt, and hopefully he doesn't. We love watching him play. We never wish for injuries on anyone on this podcast. But like if he gets banged up, then you have Hall and you have Harvey there, and that's still a nice
Yeah.
duo as well. So again, I don't hate the pick of the Broncos being like, hey, we take
Yeah.
less pressure off Bo Nix still. Alex, lastly, what are your kind of thoughts? Do you think
I,
Hall is a decent trade target, or should the Jets keep him around?
Well, I mean, I think the Jets would be stupid to not keep him around, even if he's not a building block. But you simply keep him off the market for any of the AFC teams, because the reality, when I look at the landscape of the competitive teams that really have a shot of getting over the hump, I'm really looking at the AFC West entirely. I'm looking at the Broncos, I'm looking at the Chiefs, and I'm looking at the Chargers in terms of who's in the market for a running back, whether it's Thunder and Lightning with Dobbins up in Denver, or you have your bell cow, your mainstay back with the Chargers, or if you just have that missing ingredient, you put yourself over the top with the Chiefs. Each three have unique needs specifically for the running back that I think Brees Hall is so versatile that he can command to whatever they need to be. He can be all those things. But I also love Desmond's pick about Washington, because the reality is they're on a down year, but they're still competitive. They're kind of an enigma, and the NFC East, in terms of that race for that division, is not over yet. And I don't think that they're completely out of things. I think the NFC has a lot of potential towards that bottom with those last two wild cards. And I wouldn't put the kibosh on the season yet. So if they're looking to make a push for this deadline, I think that's a great landing spot.
Yeah.
Who,
No,
who
I
knows?
love it.
Philadelphia might do a straight up AJ Brown for Brees Hall and just run double T wing like it's 1950 and
Be
just a
crazy,
triple option.
Yeah.
fucking crazy.
Wow. Please God, no. I'll cry.
You know what? I wouldn't
Uh,
mind actually
and
the
what,
AJ Brown, Trey Henderson trade. Just have since then I have three great receivers. Just like load
Please
them up,
stop.
load them
Yeah.
up.
Stop.
Joe
Nightmares.
Flacco might throw
Nightmares.
for 6,000 yards.
And the one team I did want to throw in there, and I'm gonna get a lot of shit for this if they lay an egg this week, is Carolina Panthers. They're 500, but that division's still wide open with the injury history with Tampa Bay.
That
I don't
division's
think
always wide
it's a foregone conclusion until they get healthy back and recovered with Mike Evans and the crew. I think that they could possibly be hanging around towards the bottom of the wild card conversation, if not the fourth divisional winner. So with Carolina being kind of at the bottom there too. They're one of they're in the bottom five in the league in terms of rushing production. I think Brees Hall would be like a perfect fit. It would be a nice synthesis. And you look at the way that C-Mac came out of that system. I think
Mm,
that he was like a dual back with the receiving. I think that Brees Hall could kind of fit that mold too.
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I
I'll
like
make.
Carolina of all places. It's
Yeah.
weird because we all think Carolina usually stinks, but they've
Right.
been a testy team this year. They are like I
Better
wouldn't
than
be
hanging
surprised if they had a
around.
guy like Brees Hall. I would not be
Yeah.
surprised. Brian, you want to say something real quick?
What do we think about Devon Achane in Miami? I know he has like 2 years left on the contract, but if this team's in full tank mode, he is probably out of everyone with the contract situation the best option to pick up.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's another name that like I would be surprised if Miami moves on from him because he's just a dynamic player that I think will help their
Yeah,
future. But
because you'll have him on two
also,
years.
yeah,
You have him
yeah,
this year
yeah,
and 2 more years. This is his second year.
yeah.
So it's,
So, uh, but at the same time, it's like, all right, well, we're having a down year, another disappointing year. They're probably going to clean house. I think it's inevitable they're cleaning house. At least from a coaching perspective. So, where they now be like, okay, we can sell them high and get the assets that
I'm
we
saying
need going
he
forward. But
easily could command a second round pick.
yeah. Yeah. So I wouldn't I like it. Like I wouldn't be surprised if we see at the trade deadline that HN got moved.
Yeah,
But I also think if Miami is smart, you use him as a guy for your future. Similar to Brees. Like I wouldn't be surprised if he gets traded, but like I also think the Jets should keep him around because I think he's just a dynamic player for their offense going forward. And I think
yeah.
especially if they bring in a young quarterback, which they most likely will. I know there's not a this of course the one year the Jets suck, it's not a strong quarterback class. But at least if you had Brees stay there, you have some sort of pressure off your young quarterback. So, but HN
Mhm.
is, I think, a name definitely I wouldn't be surprised if they're like, hey, let's just start getting all the freaking assets that we can get right now.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. With that, we'll wrap trade down and talk again next week. We'll be pretty much deep dive, give everyone updates on what we've seen, reactions, everything that's going on the trade line. Should be an interesting one. I think is really. I feel like last year has kind of been a dud trade line, like nothing like
Yeah,
crazy. I feel like this could be
Yeah.
the year where we see some of the big moves.
I hope so.
Um, so with that, before we kind of go into our rapid fire pick 'em like we do every week, we're getting closer and closer to the midway point of the season. And there's been some players and obviously some coaches that have stood out. So we'll just go kind of quickly. Early MVP, early coach of the year. Who do you got right now? Brian, I will start with you. You can go give me your MVP pick, and then your coach of the year pick and why.
So for MVP, I have Jonathan Taylor. Just he's doing everything possible right now, and I don't even have to explain it anymore. I feel like it's just a unanimous, easy answer right there.
Yeah.
He might go unanimous MVP as a running back, which I don't know if that ever happened before. It's just outstanding what they've done over there in the Colts. Kudos to everyone involved in that. And I think Coach of the Year, I think some people might actually find us a little bit of a shocker. I think Kyle Shanahan. I
Hmm.
think for the injuries that this team has on defense and offense, to still be commanding a 5-3 record at this point, and I imagine that I see this team as winning 10 games, 11 games. Um, I think a lot of people always say, "Oh, you got to make the playoffs to be coach of the year." In my opinion, you have to be if you will your team to above a 500 record. And when you are decimated, you deserve it, right? And this man is single handedly just based on scheme getting his team to win.
I love both of your picks. I think Taylor's the easy one. I was gonna go, but I'm gonna switch it up for everyone. But I'll give you that after everyone else goes. Desmond, who's your MVP and who's your coach of the year so far?
It's hard for me to deny Baker Mayfield right now.
Mm-hmm.
They are, I know that, they kind of like let a couple games slip away, but 6-2, leading the division, tied for the lead in the conference. Uh, every single week, it feels like this guy's just finding ways to win. He has like what, four different wins now that have come in the
Yeah.
last like minute of the game. This is
Yeah, it's
all while
clutch.
battling like Evans injuries, Chris Godwin injuries. His backfield keeps getting injuries. Bucky Irving's had missing time. Emeka Buka's spent some time out. Yeah, man. I think, it usually goes to a quarterback on a great team. I feel like I keep hearing people talk about Patrick Mahomes. I even had that as like my week one pick, but as the season's gone on, I really think that, Baker has played the better season than Patrick has. And I think most of these other quarterbacks, if I'm being honest with you, he's overcome a lot of adversity. I got my eye on him. For coach of the year, I'm leaning more towards Mike Vrabel. because the
Hey,
Patriots were
Didn't think
hot
about that one.
garbage, and now they're leading their division at 6-2. I mean, like what? I mean, is there a better turnaround so far this year? So I mean, I guess. Oh, sorry, the
Yeah,
Colts. So, but we already went
yeah.
there last segment. So yeah, Patriots. I think their turnaround going into Buffalo, already getting a win there. Yeah, I think Vrabel should be the runaway favorite for right now with Steichen.
You
Good pick.
uh you stole my coach of the year, and I'll probably double down because I don't know who else to think about. I might think about it while Alex goes. Alex, who do you have so far as your MVP and your coach of the year?
MVP. I actually got Pat Mahomes.
Hmm.
I know it's kind
Wow.
of, I
Wow,
know
I'm
it's
shocked by that.
yeah, I know, especially if they just freaking shut us out 2 weeks ago, which is embarrassing. I took a freaking up the ass at the bar. I did. Yeah, I just think as the season progresses, I think they're going to age like fine wine. They're going to get back to their championship form. I don't necessarily agree that it's a product of the AFC being in a down year, but that's kind of beside the point. You play who's in front of you and you move on. But I think that he's just having a really clean season in the pocket. He's not blowing you off the stat sheet, but he's not throwing a lot of picks. He's not throwing more than 35 times a game. I think that this offense is starting to hum, and they'll start beating better teams as the year progresses. I think it's just all about chemistry. For coach of the year, I kind of had split duty on this. Originally, I was going to go Shane Steichen, which would be the obvious one for Indianapolis. But I got to but as even though I give him the award, I would also give some love to Mike McDonald up in Seattle because if
Mm,
they end up winning that
Hmm.
NFC West, that is just a phenomenal job in year two for him with all the changes, new quarterback, new coordinator. You got
Yeah.
Cooper Kupp coming in the system. You got split backs, sharing the touches. I think there's a lot of moving pieces there with the secondary. That's a really impressive job for a very tough, competitive division. So Mike McDonald, Shane Steichen kind of have to hold the trophy together, I guess.
Love
Yeah.
them, love them. I'm gonna go shocker here. Patriots fans are gonna love me for saying this for MVP. I'm gonna go Drake May. I
oh
know
yeah,
he's
it's easy.
flying up the draft like the MVP odds counter
Woo.
right now, and I know we talked John Taylor, and I want to double down on John Taylor, but I'm gonna switch it up, and I'm gonna give some praise to the Patriots right now. I'm really loving Drake May's game. I really wish he was a Giant. Obviously, we have Jackson Dart, so I'm happy about that. But back then, I loved him as a prospect, and he's living up to the hype, especially with Mike Vrabel, who was my pick for coach of the year. I'm going to switch it up here. So right now, 75.2 completion percentage, which is wild. 2,000 yards passing, 15 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 118.7 quarterback rating. I mean, he's exceeded expectations. Again, that big win in Buffalo really stood out to me watching him. And we're just seeing the Drake May show week in and week out. So I'm gonna give him some love. I know a lot of people are like, well, he hasn't really played, a ton of tough competition, other than Buffalo. But it doesn't matter. You're supposed to win the games that you're supposed to win, and Drake May is doing that, and he's doing it at a high percentage and a high completion percentage, and been very, very consistent. So I'm gonna go Drake May. Uh, and then I'm going to give some props over to Detroit. And I'm going to say coach of the year right now, it should be Dan Campbell. Because
Yeah.
I know the
Good pick.
Lions are having the success they are having right now. But a lot of people were looking at them being, it was the coordinators' reasons that they had their success. And Dan Campbell was a good leader of guys. And once those guys left, it's all going to fall apart. Well, after a little testy start, the Lions have continued to look like a team of old. They've been dominating. They're second in the NFC North right now, but just getting back into gear and just blowing teams out like they were last year. So I'm going to give props to Dan Campbell because he had a lot of eyes on him, a lot of pressure on him going into this year. And a lot
And
of
he's
people thought the
coaching a
team was
hurt
going to fall
team.
off. Yeah, and and everyone said once the Quinn gone, Dan Campbell's going to be on the hot seat because the Lions are going to suck. Well, they're 5-2, everyone, and they are looking pretty damn good. So I'm going to go Dan Campbell here, coach of the year so far because all those expectations, and he's been continuing the Lions' success so far.
Yeah.
So with that, we're going to go. Unless anyone has anything else, with
Yeah.
that, we're going to go into our rapid fire pick'em. Let me get up the DraftKings real quick. Sponsor us DraftKings. I say it every time while I wait to to log in
Take
to
away.
DraftKings. So everyone knows I use DraftKings here for our rapid fire pick'em. That's where I'm looking. If you bet elsewhere, that's totally fine. But I'm looking at DraftKings is right here on my phone. So with that, we're gonna kick it off. Again, we'll try to go rapid fire. We're not going to keep this long-winded here. We've got a little long. We have a great conversation. So tomorrow, Thursday night, we've been teasing it, as this is going to be an interesting pick for Thursday night football. We got the Ravens at said Miami Dolphins. Are we going to see the Miami
Mm.
Dolphins team that showed it last week as Falcons, or the Ravens going to beat their ass? Because Lamar Jackson's finally back. And
Yeah.
maybe this is the moment where Lamar Jackson has the motivation because he said recently that every game is a playoff game going forward. So maybe the Ravens shock the world and turn this whole goddamn season around, especially off the win against the Chicago Bears. They're opening up right now at 7.5 favorites. That's how much Lamar Jackson changed his game. 7.5 favorites, 440 on the money line, over under at 51.5. Desmond, I'll start with you. Ravens or Dolphins?
If the Ravens come back and get into the playoffs, everyone stop the MVP conversation and just give it to Lamar
Yeah, yeah.
Jackson because who
Right.
is more
Agreed.
valuable to their
Right.
team than Lamar Jackson? Yeah, he has no injury designation for this game. I think the Dolphins aren't really sustainable with that effort they put up last week. Give me the Ravens again this week.
Like it. Brian,
I'll take Ravens by 3 touchdowns.
three toe.
I'm
Sorry, Dolphin fans.
21 point blowout with Lamar coming back.
Sorry, Dolphins. You heard it
All in
first.
the air. All in
you-
the air for him.
all in the air. Okay.
He's
All
going
in
to
the
show
air.
he's a quarterback again.
The passing Lamar Jackson is going to show out, and he's going to destroy
Yeah.
Miami. You heard it here first, guys. Sorry, Dolphin
Yes.
fans. Alex, who do you have?
So I got the Ravens winning as well, outright, but I don't have them covering actually.
Hmm.
Oh.
I think I like the line at 51.5, but I think that off the injury, they're going to be kind of pacing him out slow and steady. I think the weather could be a factor if it gets rainy down there as well, especially with anything through the air. So I'm gonna take the Ravens, but by a field goal or so.
Oh, you're not calling the Dolphin fans. You have a chance, according to Alex. If you're
Right.
a Dolphin fan, according to
Thank you,
Brian,
thank
you're screwed. You are screwed. I'm going to go with the Ravens here. I'm going to take the points. I think it's a 10-point game. I don't think it's a beatdown like Brian's predicting. Give me the Ravens, renewed with Lamar back. Hopefully their defense finally shows up. They need a defensive game for once. But hopefully with Lamar back, Ravens get back in place. And it can be scary. If they win this one, they have all the momentum in the world to turn their season around, which I think a lot of us a few weeks ago were thinking that team is in some deep trouble. But we'll see. Next one, kicking off our 1 o'clock slates, with some really solid games this week. I do have to say, some fun games. Maybe, hopefully, we got a divisional game. Vikings on the road at Detroit. Spread is currently in favor of the Lions, -8.5. Money line 535. Over under is 48.5. So a little bit of high scoring game. I'll kick it off here. Give me the Lions. Give me the points. Every single time I bet against the Lions, they screw me over. So I'm going in the habit right now of just betting on the Lions and winning. And this is a perfect matchup for them, especially because this Vikings team, JJ McCarthy, we'll see. Does he live up to the light in the divisional game, or do this line defense just beat his ass? We'll see. But give me the Lions, give me the points. That's my pick. Alex, who do you have? Vikings, Lions.
I literally have a carbon copy. I got Lions and the points. I think they win by 2 touchdowns. I think this is a walk in the park for Detroit at home at 1 o'clock.
Love it. Brian,
Same exact thing. This might be 4 touchdowns.
4 touchdowns. Brian's going big blowout weekend, friends. We want close games here on the podcast. That's what makes it exciting, especially what you saw this week. Brian's like, nah, screw it. I want all the blowouts.
I'm a TD parlay kind of guy. I need high
Brian
scoring
wants
games.
all the blowouts. He wants us to have a 15-minute podcast next week.
Yes.
Desmond, who do you have between Vikings and Lions?
I'm not gonna be the person who saves the graphic here, because Lions coming off a bye, the Vikings are bringing back JJ McCarthy. This could get ugly.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lions easy.
We're all in favor of the
This could get
Lions.
ugly.
Other game that can get ugly that I'm going to say, Chargers on the road at the Tennessee Titans. Chargers favored 8.5. Desmond, who do you have here between Chargers and Titans?
Chargers, but they don't cover. I think they come out a little slow, a little sloppy. That 3-hour time difference. This could be one of those like knockdown, drag it out 17-13 games where the Chargers win.
Typical the weird Chargers trap game like they were against the Giants, but it's against Titans. I can see that. I can see that. Brian, who do you have?
I completely agree with Desmond. Exact same thing. It's going to be a juggernaut. They're going to be traveling. Tennessee actually plays well when they want to, so at home. So I got to see it being interesting.
Yeah, we all hope it's interesting. Alex, who do you have?
Yeah, I like Tennessee at home. I think they'll be competitive. I got Chargers winning but not covering, similar to Desmond and Brian. I think this is something around a 20-17 type of game. I think that they really struggle here.
Yeah, I agree. I think it could be a tale of two tapes. It could be either ugly game or it could be a fun and exciting game. Titans been playing well at home. I'm going to go Chargers here winning, but I might look at the spread there for the Titans at 8.5. I think it is going to be a weird kind of game that the Chargers just narrowly win, but we'll see. Next one, this one's being particularly close right now, and it could be a fun one, hopefully. Daniel Jones and Jonathan Taylor on the road at Pittsburgh.
Ooh.
Colts currently at the favorite at -3 over under 50.5. Again, another game that's predicted to be a shootout. And then Colts favorite on the money line at -166. I'll kick us off here. I'm gonna go Colts and the cover. There's just no slowing them down. The Steelers defense has been inept. Give me, and I'm gonna look at this going too. Touchdown bet. Jonathan Taylor, I think, is like the easiest to score a
Mm.
touchdown bet right now in the league. So give me the Colts and the points. Desmond, I'll go to you.
You know what? I think I like a Steelers upset here. The Colts have only played one game outside this season. That's I
Mm.
want to see what it looks like when they actually have to put that offense out into the cold a little bit. I know the Steelers defense didn't look so hot this last week, but this one feels like a good upset to me. I'm taking the Steelers here.
Yeah,
I like it. Solid, strong. Brian, who do you
I agree with Desmond. Outdoor game, terrible towels flowing. Um,
Come on, we
Jeff's
can't
a lot
forget
to
that.
handle. Also, it's like Aaron Rodgers. I still Aaron Rodgers played well against Green Bay. He's
have?
still moving and grooving. So I know. I think Colts need a little humbling. It's not good to go through the season just winning games. Need some character build up, right? So
Yeah.
I think Pittsburgh by a touchdown makes sense.
You guys make me want me to vomit every time I have to take Daniel Jones in a positive light. And the one time I freaking do it, you guys all go against me. What the hell is this? Alex, I know what you're picking based on your reaction. So, Alex, who do
Yeah,
you have in this
I
one?
Yeah.
don't like being called third and being unanimous with everybody else on a freaking pick'ems in an off week. Yeah, I mean Pittsburgh's coming off two straight losses. This is a redeem game for them. Indianapolis, I don't like them in outside weather. As early as November. So, I got Pittsburgh in an upset. Let's do it.
Love
Yeah.
it. All right. I mean, you guys all went against me. I guess I gotta go. Yay, Daniel Jones and Jonathan Taylor. Yay,
Can't be
Daniel
unanimous every
Jones.
pick here, so
No,
you
we
you
can't
did the
be.
right thing here.
Yeah, I did the right thing, but
Yes.
God,
Yeah.
the amount of texts I've gotten to Daniel Jones these last few weeks, Jesus Christ. All right. So
You know what?
with
Hold
that,
on, really quickly though. I want to say that this might solidify Steichen as like coach of the year because when
oh
he was
yeah,
with the Eagles in 22, Jalen Hurts I think had his best year.
yeah.
So like maybe we
Yeah.
can just give Steichen his flowers here about how good he is taking quarterbacks that
Mm.
haven't looked so hot elsewhere. They're with him. They look amazing. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, like I
Scheme is
said,
everything at the end of the day.
I mean, I give props to Steichen, for sure. I think, but again, what he's doing with Daniel Jones, and again, and I know people said, and I'll quick on this, but it's just like with Dan, like if he's getting the most out of Daniel Jones, he works perfectly in the system, and all props to him because the fact that like after all this time in Giants, we all thought he was done. The fact that he's turning him into a near MVP candidate,
yeah.
impressive, just absolutely impressive. And it's Colts team again, winning the little ahead of schedule here is perfect. With that, we're gonna go over to again a team that we were always like, what the hell, and their coach seems to be like, what the hell. And the Atlanta Falcons on the road at New England. New England's opening up at -5.5. The over/under is 44.5. Patriots 258 minus. I mean, there's some money there, not a lot, but uh, Desmond, I'll go to you. What are your thoughts on this between the Falcons and the Patriots?
You know what? It's Halloween weekend, and Jekyll and Hyde's going to continue being Jekyll and Hyde. Give me the Falcons in the upset again.
All right, all
Woo!
right. Alex, I'll go to
Damn it.
you.
Well, first of all, I say PU to pick against New England on Halloween weekend. But I respect it. I like the parody. I got New England, but I got them covering. I expect this to be a two touchdown win. I expect this to be a blowout. And I expect them to go over 44.5 as well.
Love it, Brian.
Atlanta by a safety. It's gonna be one of those weird games. It just feels like that.
We're all
New
picking the
England needs to,
England weird
New England
game. Yeah.
needs to get humble with it a little bit. Atlanta's just stupid. It feels like it's gonna be a weird game. I say Atlanta by 2 points.
I get it. Tempting. It's
I mean,
tempting. You're more
yeah.
You're more with Desmond on that one.
Yeah, I mean, Atlanta's a weird team, obviously, and it's Halloween weekend, but I just love everything about New England right now. I don't
Yeah.
think they give up a game like this against this Falcons team. Give me New England, give me the points. I mean, they've taken every opportunity they have. it being at home. I know it's going to be a weird weekend. It's Halloween, like you guys said, and the Falcons have been weird. This could be the weird week, but just give me the Patriots. I can't roll against them. Big spread in this one, which everyone knows my rule about massive
Yep.
spreads in this one. We got the
Yeah.
Panthers on the road at Green Bay. The point spread is 13 and a half in
No way.
favor of the
That's
Green Bay
ridiculous.
Packers. Over under is 43 and a half and minus 1,100 on the Packers on the money line. I'll kick this off. Give me the I think the Packers are going to win this game, but give me the Panthers and covering the spread at 13 and a half. I mean, I
Easy.
know the Packers have looked good, but the Panthers, I know we have mixed feelings about them and this whole group and everyone that talks. Some people think they suck. They've been a chippy team all year, and I think they showed that again on the road. Give me the Panthers, and I know again there's been injuries and stuff like that, but they've been chippy every week. This is the weird spread that I don't like. I think the Panthers are going to cover here. That's where I'm looking at. I think Packers win this game, but 13 and a half. I think the Panthers are going to cover. Desmond, your thoughts?
Um, I can't pick the Packers quickly enough on this one, and I would take the points. Maybe it's biased, maybe I'm a hater. I just cannot stand all things Carolina Panthers. I think the fact that they're 4-4 is actually blowing my mind. Yeah, give me the Packers. I'll take them to cover. I like this year to be a 17 point or more victory.
All right, Brian.
I'm gonna take the Panthers by a field goal here. I feel major upset
Ooh.
alert. I feel like this. I hate this Green Bay team, and it's not because of Michael Parsons. I just personally don't think I see the hype in what everyone's talking
Mm.
about. I see
All
a
right.
wide receiver room with no one. I like Tucker Kraft. I like Josh Jacobs. Jordan Love is shaky at times. Um, the defense is questionable in my opinion. They really can't stop the run at certain moments, but that's why Michael Parsons, he's weak in the run game. If I'm Carolina here, I'm running the ball straight at him every play. He's throughout his entire career, he hasn't been able to stop the run. It's like a known thing. That's why Jerry Jones probably traded him because, that's an easy reason to say, oh, he's not a complete player. We're not going to pay him that much, right? So I see them winning by a field goal.
No, I don't hate the pick at all. As you guys said, I'm picking the Panthers to cover here. I mean,
When
I
you have
agree.
those two running backs,
Yeah,
all it screams is time of possession. And when
yeah.
you have time of possession, opposing quarterbacks start making mistakes.
All right.
And Jordan Love as well has that gunslinger mentality. I wouldn't be surprised if
Exactly.
he tries to thread the needle a few times and it backfires on him. So
Yep. All of a
Alex,
sudden, you have three picks.
are you with us on the bank? Are you going with Desmond here?
Well, I'm going with Green Bay winning, but they're not covering. So I got them in about a touchdown type of game. 13 and a half is just wild to me. I'm kind of I lean on the camp that says Carolina's more chippy than they are bad, and I think they're going to keep this game relatively competitive. So I got Carolina covering the spread.
Love it. Desmond, sorry, you're the only one that thinks this is going to be an
Hey,
absolute
we can't all
blowout,
be
but
in
we got to
unanimous
balance
here.
it out.
It'll
No,
get boring
We
real
like this.
fast.
This is
you know?
good.
this
Yeah.
is good. It
This
is
is
good. I love it. I'm just saying, you're good.
This isn't the NFL. We don't have scripts here.
We don't have scripts. No, we don't have the scripts in front of us.
I
Speaking
like
of not seeing, again, and this is why I like doing this segment blind. I don't look at DraftKings before I do this, like while we're doing this show. This is my first time looking at the Giants spread, and I'm very surprised by this. 49ers at New York. The spread is 2.5 in favor of the 49ers, over under 48.5 and minus 148 on the 49ers. I would think the spread would be a little bigger, and I know the 49ers are banged up, but the Giants without Scatterboo, we don't know what's going on this week. They're deflated. I, w- I hate doing this and picking up against my own team. I'm going to go with the 49ers and them covering this week. I'm just surprised that it's that small of a gap. I just think the 49ers have been a decent
Alex,
team.
you can't be a
So
Giants fan to pick against the Giants. Come on now.
you've done it before. You've done it before. And every single time I bet on,
I
I have
have
to be
never
smart
picked
here.
against the Eagles.
I,
Hold on
I
now.
I'm going against them just because every single time I bet on them, the Giants, I'm going to do reverse psychology here, everybody. Just
All right,
reverse.
all right,
Every
all
time
right.
I bet on them,
Okay.
they've let me down. So I'm flipping it up. And I think the Giants are going to win this week. Just so everyone knows, I'm not the type of guy. I want my team to lose for a better draft pick. I'm not that. But I want to do reverse psychology. So I'm going to go 49ers, 2.5 Giants. Please, for the love of God, win this game. All right, Desmond, we're going to go over to you. Who do you have between the 49ers and Giants?
I like the 49ers too. I think it's gonna be a heavy dose of Christian McCaffrey. I mean,
Yeah.
speaking of another guy who, like, if the 49ers end up getting like 10 or 11 wins, like, he should
Mm.
be in MVP talks
No.
because I mean he should be in it every year, honestly, if we're being real here. Yeah, heavy dose Christian McCaffrey. The 49ers in this patchwork team, they can't seem to like play bad. Even when they lose, they're still playing competitively. Yeah, I like them here on the road.
Yeah, and just want to make a note. Saquon Barkley finally woke up against this strong Giants defense last week. So if you're a Christian McCaffrey fan, I would say kind of look at
The
his
49ers have a
overs.
better O line than we do
Yeah, not
too.
just yeah,
So
Hmm.
yeah, and
yeah.
that's why I think like this. I completely agree with you with Christian McCaffrey being a player to watch in this matchup because if Saquon woke up against that defense, only we can see what happens with see like with seems he's going to probably do some wild shit. We'll see. Brian, who do you have between the Giants and 49ers?
49ers by 10. Christian McCaffrey, he's on his usual tear of he's going to be the first player ever to have two 1,000 seasons ever. He has 559 receiving, 490 rushing. I expect this to be a 100 game for him with three touchdowns. One of those fantasy days
Brian,
that you're like, what the hell's going on?
Brian, go with the big stat line that's going to make me puke and not want to watch this.
Don't ever get upset
Turn off the
at
TV.
generational talent.
I
You
will
just
never
have
get
to
upset at Denver
respect.
Stone.
You have
I
to
respect it.
respect it and
Yeah.
say you could have had that if you told Scadaboot to not lower his head all the time.
Yeah.
The
If you
the player of my nightmares is a running back named Brian Westbrook, former Eagle. Growing up, he terrorized me as a
Mm.
child.
Sure
That is the
did.
man of my nightmares. So
Sure did.
I praise generational talent. So if I had the bear as a kid watching that guy run over my team, if I see C-Mount, props to him. Hate West. Well, I hate. I hated, but I hated to love Brian Russell again. That dude was freaking insane. But he was a man of my
Yeah,
nightmares growing up.
psycho.
Alex, who do you
Yeah.
have between the 49ers and the Giants?
Yeah, I got the Niners winning outright. I got them covering too. I don't love the over under. I'm gonna take the under on this one. I think this is somewhere in the ballpark of like a 17 type game, 10 type of game. But I got a heavy dose of McCaffrey. I think Mac Jones plays if he's starting this week. I got him as being kind of the managerial quarterback. So I got a 17-10 type of game, heavy ground game.
All right. Well, we'll hope for my Giants' sake that doesn't happen because again, we all picked the 49ers. So another game which I think could be interesting. This I think this could be a game of the week conversation talking about next week. We got Denver on the road at Houston. Small spread -1.5 in favor of the Texans at home. Over under at 39.5 and -130 on the money line. Brian, who do you have here between the Broncos and the Texans? I know we've talked about this game a little bit.
Uh, if Nico Collins is playing, I have Texans by a touchdown. I just think the defense is better, and Denver's going to come in arrogant after a Dallas win that really, all the other teams in the league except maybe Minnesota and Titans could probably beat us up. I even think the Saints could beat us. That's how bad it is. So I think Denver loses here.
All right. And reminder for people listening to the pod, if you haven't seen Patrick Surtain will be out in this game and go in the next few weeks. So
Yeah.
I think that's why the money line came down a little bit in this matchup
Yeah.
without your defensive player of the year. Alex, who do you have? Broncos, Texans.
I got Broncos by a field goal. I think they keep the streak going. I think it's going to be a tight game. Houston's obviously a menace on defense. They're going to have that home crowd. They're coming off a win. So I do have Denver in a close game. I got somewhere around a 21-18 type of game. I do like the over-under here.
All right. And Desmond, who do you have?
I got the Broncos here by at least a touchdown. Speaking of that crowd, I think that it might actually end up having more Broncos fans than
I
Texans
wouldn't be
fans
surprised.
because, actually complete offense here. I think Houston's actually a terrible sports city. That's a conversation for a whole different podcast. Yeah, give me the Broncos. I don't trust the Texans offense. Like they just consistently, like I'm asking myself every week, like, what is this offense? I don't even know what I'm looking at half the time. I mean, the running back situation is terrible. They got one good wide receiver. CJ Stroud is all over the place. Their line is complete trash. So yeah, I think the Broncos are a more complete team. They'll kind of give them a good, yeah, at least a touchdown victory.
After watching my team melt down against the Broncos, I'm going to go with the Broncos here and covering same things that Desmond said that I don't trust this Houston Texans offense. One week they're on fire, one week they're all over the place. I know the Broncos don't have PS2, but they still have a great pass rush that I think they're going to get to CJ Stroud. If Nico plays, I think it could be fun. It could be a shootout style game, but just seeing how resilient this Denver Bronco team could be. I think they're going to show that again this weekend. So give me the Broncos and the points. Next game here, a little bit of a dud to end the 1 o'clock games. Chicago on the road at Cincinnati. Chicago opens up at -3. Over under is 51.5. Bears are favored at -155 on the money line. I'm gonna go here first. I know Flacco is kind of iffy. I think that's like what they've stated on going into this
50-50.
game.
Mm.
Yeah, I think he will lean maybe towards playing, but who knows? But the Bears coming off that awful loss against the Ravens, I think are gonna have some bounce back here. So give me the Bears, give me the points, and hope they don't let me down. But yeah, I think this is a bounce back game for the Chicago here, and if Flacco doesn't play, we see what this Bengals team is. So which is not pretty. So Desmond, who do you have between the Bears and Bengals?
You know what? I think it's a bounce back game for the Bengals. In fact, I'm calling it. I think this might be the game of that early window. I really like
Ah,
this game
okay.
a lot. I think
Mm.
um, I think the Bears are a little overhyped. I don't think they're as good as people are making them out to be.
Mhm.
And I think the Bengals are going to come out a little bit better than they did last week. I mean, we know that Joe Flacco will find Jamar Chase for 10 plus receptions because it just keeps happening. So, yeah, let me get the Bengals in a close one here, like a 27-24 type of a game.
Don't hate it. Don't hate it at all. Brian, who do you have?
Caleb Williams is a fraud, but I'll still take them to win and cover.
Yeah, right. Brian with some
He
of these
just put
takes
it
today. I
on
love it.
fucking.
Alex, who do you
Shit.
have in
He
this
just puts it.
matchup?
He just puts it on fucking Main Street, dude. That's great. I
When we say
love it.
rapid fire, Brian comes with some of the best things. It's just like quick statements. Like when we
Five
it's just
words or less.
perfect. It's just
So
perfect. Yeah.
I literally had the identical pick to Desmond. I have a 27-24 type of game, but I have Cincinnati winning, pulling the upset with +3 here. I do love the over/under. It's just going to come down to I know that Flacco's 50-50 as of midweek right now. So if he does play, I'm going to stick with that pick and take
Mhm.
Cincinnati by a field goal.
Love it. Another Alex Young rule here with the massive spreads, but this one I might be looking at actually and breaking my own rule. Saints at LA, spread right now -14 in favor of the LA Rams, -1,000 on the money line over on at 43.5. Give me the Rams and the points. Tyler Shoes starting this game, rookie quarterback for New Orleans. I think the Rams are going to feast and just keep on clicking. And Matthew Stafford probably good bet to look at a couple passing touchdowns in that one. I don't know what his over under is right now. I'm not going to open it up, but I think you go to Rams in a big win here, especially if the fact that the Bucks won with Baker Mayfield not throwing a touchdown pass. I think Matthew Stafford's going to have a few, and that spread's just going to be massive. So with that, I'm going Rams. Give me the points. Desmond, who do you have?
Rams, and I'm not going to take the points. You know, the
Ooh.
Rams consistently find ways to like play down to their competition.
Mm.
Like I think that, consistently what we see from the Rams is they don't really have like that killer instinct. They certainly will give games away. That I think they've done it twice this year already. So, yeah, I think the Saints are going to stick around, but the Rams are going to win.
All right, Brian. Is a seven? Is it a
Um,
seven touchdown bet for you? Is massive beatdown?
if the United States wanted to get rid of the deficit, they could just bet on bet on the Rams to win and and to cover on the difference here, and I'm pretty
Or they
sure
could
we'd have
tack
zero
four.
debt. Exactly. The Rams might win by 5 touchdowns. I'm not even kidding because they just basically did that against Jacksonville.
Yeah.
This is one of these games where it's like Saints have a good defense, but like Matt Stafford, and I could see him throwing for like 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Hopefully to Devontae Adams
Yeah, right.
on my fantasy
Alex,
team.
who do you have?
Well, for those reasons, what Brian said, I don't think they even need to put up 5 touchdowns. I see this more as like a 20-6 kind of game. I see them covering the spread, and I see the over, and I'm going to take the under as well. I think this is a really low scoring game, but a dominant performance by the Rams. So I'm taking the Rams with the points and the under.
Yeah. Again, all valid. I just have no faith in this Saints team right now. So I think the Rams are just going to kick their ass. With
Competitive
that,
thing.
I don't know if I want to. We're we're going into the second of the 4 o'clocks. There's a couple of 4 o'clock games. I don't know if I consider this one a good one, but we'll go Jacksonville on the road at Vegas. The Jaguars are about -3. Over under 44.5, -155 on the money line. Desmond, I'm going to kick it off with you. Who do you have in this matchup here?
Both teams coming off the bye. Um, this one's actually tough here because I feel like if the Raiders drop another one, they have to also consider like blowing the whole thing up.
Mm,
And you probably think that's an obvious thing to do here, but I don't know that they actually want that. I think that locker room actually really wants to get this thing turned around. I'm gonna pick Jacksonville, but I think this is actually gonna be one of the really, really close games of the day. Like I feel like it might be like a 21-17 or 21 even 20 kind of a game. Jacksonville.
Okay. Don't hate it. Alex, Raider fan. Who do you have in this matchup?
I've been well behaved all night. I'm going to take my boys at home against the 3-point spread. Um, yeah, I just don't trust Jacksonville. After I feel
I
like
don't
they got
either.
a little bit too much hopium after the KC win.
Yeah.
Didn't like how they came out against the Rams and against Seattle. So I'm taking my boys at home and I'm going to take the under.
All right. Brian.
Trevor Lawrence is Eli Manning. Eli Manning with a wig. Wrong. Okay.
Why the Giants hate, brother? Why Eli?
I couldn't
Hall of
remember what I
Famer.
was saying.
He's gonna be a Hall of Famer.
Shouldn't be a
Super
Hall
Bowl
of
he's
champ.
not.
Shouldn't be a
No,
Hall
he's
of
Come
not.
on.
Famer.
Philip
He
Rivers
should
He's
be a
a,
Hall
he's
of
a
Famer.
mouth
Should
That's a
be.
conversation for another day. That's
Philip
just we can
Rivers
go
didn't
way
get
off the
informed.
rails. I'm steadying the ship here.
Raiders by 14. Matt Crosby
Woo!
has a touchdown fumble return touchdown.
Okay.
Don't hate it.
yeah,
You know what?
I like it. I like it.
You know what? I'm gonna go with give me the Raiders. Give me the Raiders covering. Give me them on the voice.
Yes.
Again, we spoke so highly of Jacksonville after that KC win when we were super excited about them, and then
Yeah.
they look like the Jacksonville of old these last 2 weeks. And we could have talked in Ted like trade deadline talk. I don't think it's gonna happen, but Brian Thomas Jr. If some team gives a very strong offer, I can see on the move. So who the hell is Trevor Lawrence going to be thrown to? Even though he hasn't really thrown to Brian Thomas this year. But again, I think for all the points, I think the Raiders need a win, and they're at home. Give me the Raiders. I think Geno
Give it
Smith
to me.
looks like a decent quarterback for one game for Alex's sanity. The next
Save,
one
save the LASIK for
that
one
we're
more
going to
week.
look at is definitely the game of the 4 o'clock window. We've teased it a few times in our conversations today. Chiefs on the road at Buffalo. Spread is -1.5 in favor of the Kansas City Chiefs. Over under is 52.5. So again, expecting a high scoring game here from Vegas, and then -130 in favor of the Chiefs on the money line. Alex, I'll start with you this time. We'll go reverse. Who do you have between the Chiefs and the Bills?
You give me the toughest pick of the week, but I expect this line actually to sharpen down to maybe half a point or in favor of Buffalo. But I like the Bills in this game. I think that this home crowd is what sustains them. I think that 52.5 seems about right for the over under. Um, I just I think two things can be true. I think Chiefs can be back as we call them back, but I think that Bills just have their number at home. And when it's in the inverse, when Casey's at home, I think they find a way to make magic happen. So give me Bills at home, and I'll take the over on 52.5.
I like it, Brian. Who do you have between the Bills and the Chiefs?
Alex spoke for me. Nothing said. Bills 52.5.
Like it, Desmond. Who do you have?
Chiefs. I want the Bills to win, but the unfortunate part of all this is that the Chiefs always come into these games with a plan, and it feels like the Bills' plan is like Josh Allen, please save us, and I think it's the reason why the Chiefs keep winning these games. So, yeah, give me the better coach team, unfortunately, Chiefs.
Yeah, I'm gonna balance this out and also go with the Chiefs again. They've looked pretty good. Same thing for all things Desmond said. They usually come with a game plan in these type of matchups. And I really don't like lately that the Bills have been Josh Allen, please, for the love of God, save us. So I'm gonna go with the Chiefs here, especially with the momentum they have right now. Give me the Chiefs and the points. And then for Sunday Night Football, could be an interesting one. I know I announced earlier Terry McLaurin out for this game. Seahawks at the Commanders, -3 in favor of the Seahawks right now. Over under 47.5 and -162 on the money line. Desmond, I'll start with you. Who do you have here between the Seahawks and the Commanders? I believe Jaden Daniels is slated to play at the moment. But Desmond, you can kick us off.
I want to pick the Commanders here. I really do because it feels like they should be better than what we've seen so far. But there's just been no evidence on the field in 2025 that the Commanders are what they were a year ago. Meanwhile, the Seahawks, they keep getting doubted and they keep showing up. Even the games they lose, like the game against like the Buccaneers, like
Mm,
that was a classic.
that was
Give
classic,
me the
yeah.
Seahawks here, man. I feel like they are just the quietest, great team in the NFL right now.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
that was why they were my team to watch, guys. I nailed that pick. I told everyone, Seattle, be on the lookout for
Yeah.
them. Brian, who do you have between the Seahawks and the Commanders?
Not even close. Blowout wins Seattle by 21.
Ooh.
I have
Ooh.
zero respect. I have zero
Brian
respect for
blowout
this
week.
Washington team.
It was National Tight
21,
Ends Week this week in the NFL. It's Brian's blowout week this week.
21, 21
No,
now.
no one is left unscathed here. We're having a big week.
Uh, Alex, who do you have
This
here
is
between the Seahawks
crazy.
and the Commanders?
This shit is crazy. 21-point spread. Okay. I got Seattle by at least a touchdown, so I'll take the points in Seattle. I think they cover very handily. I love Seattle. I think they're most underrated, great quality team we got in this league right now, and I think they're gonna take the over as well. 48, 47 and a half seems a little low, so minus 162. I love Seattle right here on the road, especially on a little extra rest.
Agreed with that. I'm going Seattle as well, just because they've been great. They were my team to watch for a reason. I said if Sam Darnold looked as good as he did with Minnesota, there was going to be a fun team to watch. They've proven that. They've been that. They've been a scrappy team as well. The defense has been pretty solid. So give me Seattle in the points. And again, I think the Commanders, when we look at the end of the year, is kind of the what if team right now. You know,
Mhm.
if they stayed healthy, would they be a solid team? But right now they're all sorts of banged up. So give me Seattle. And any JSN prop bet, like over under, just go with him right now. He's been on an absolute tear
Yeah.
for me. So I've been liking him bet wise on his receiving yards. He's been just absolutely dominant. And getting in the conversation of a top five receiver in the league. If not, is he that? So give me Seattle, give me the points, and if you like player prop, JSN over receiving yards. Again, I haven't been able to look at it, but I'm pretty sure you'll probably some solid number at midweek. And then just to clarify, Jaden Daniels is slated to play this week. He's expected back to play. So just wanted to clarify that for everyone. And with that, we'll wrap up our rapid fire here with a game we've also teased a lot. The Cardinals at
Yay.
Dallas, minus 2.5 in favor of the Dallas Cowboys. Over under 54.5. I don't like, oh, whatever. We can touch that in a little bit. Money line minus 148 in favor of Dallas. I'll kick us off this time. Give me Dallas, give me the points again. I think the Cardinals are on the verge of blowing this up. Kyler Murray might play this week. But either way, I've liked what I've seen from the Cowboys offense. Their defense obviously been a huge question mark throughout the year. But I think this week their offense shows out, can outmaneuver the Cardinals. So give me the Cowboys, and I'm not going to say this is a shootout. I'm looking at the under. I think 54.5 is too high for this game. I think this game's going to be more like a 21-10 kind of win, but the Cowboys will look decent. Give me the Cowboys in the points. Desmond, I'll start with you.
I actually am expecting the shootout here. I think it's gonna be more of like a 38 to 27 game. Cowboys win. Yeah, I think this is like the beginning of the end for Kyler Murray here. Like, Dallas's defense is trash, unfortunately. Sorry, Brian, but
Oh
they're
no,
off.
I wouldn't even say that they're in the trash can.
Yeah, I mean, I called them earlier like
Dumpster fire?
A Big 12
Insulting to the
defense.
trash can.
But yeah, no, I think the Cowboys have too much on offense for this Cardinals team. Cardinals offense is not that great, but I think since they're facing Dallas's defense, they'll help them out a little bit this week.
Okay. Brian, can't wait for this. Here we go. Let's see it, Brian.
No, I'm realistic. This is for them at least. I think Dallas wins by like 6. I expect a lot of points scored though in this game. It feels like I don't know, like a 38-32 kind of like game high scoring. Um, you know, with Dallas, it's weird. They're on the road to 8-1. That's what it seems to be, just mediocre at best. And Cardinals, they're just like Desmond said, there's nothing really to say anything good about them. Really, they're just not
Yeah.
getting it together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Alex.
They just seem to hang around. I had the same exact spread with Brian with 6 points. I had 27-21, keeping it under the 54, I think you mentioned. I just think this Cardinals team is just good enough to not be blown out, but in reality, they're ready to blow it up, kind of like we've all mentioned. We had high hopes for them in the preseason, and they just haven't materialized. And Kyler Murray's been playing on borrowed time, and I think that this Dallas team is good enough to at least squeak out a win. Defense is going to be bend not break, and I like that 6 point spread that Brian mentioned. So
Yeah. I think this is also the weird. I agree with all you guys. But this is also the weird week looking at the schedule where like we're gonna have a great 4:25 game between the Chiefs and the Bills, and then it's like Sunday night football might be fun or weird, and then like Monday night could either be exciting or just like a dud. Like we might have like Sunday night football and Monday night football both be either like fun or just like we're gonna talk on Wednesday and be like those games sucked. Like it's just like a very, very, very weird
I'm expecting the
Sunday
Monday
Monday
night game to
football.
actually be
Yeah,
a good.
I think
I think it's
that
going to
would be
be.
good.
I think it's going to be a good fantasy football game.
Yeah, I agree. I wouldn't be
I hope
shocked if
so.
they flex the Chiefs game to Sunday night
They
and they
should
move
have.
out
They should have,
Seattle.
Yeah.
Is
but
it they'll make sense.
yeah, I don't know why initially they didn't even do that. I think that's like literally a Sunday
Makes
night
no
football
sense.
game, and then you make
Hmm.
yeah, but makes no sense. But we can talk about that next week and talk about the decisions on schedule and all of that. But again, we'll wrap up this edition of the Yards After the Catch podcast. For Desmond, Brian, Alex, this has been a blast as always. We'll see you guys in the next one. We're like I said, trade deadline day. Or trade deadline, we're gonna have a lot of conversation. If you enjoyed, make sure you subscribe on
We got the
Spotify,
picks.
subscribe on YouTube. We got the picks from Brian.
Yes.
Content's coming out. We're gonna be posting stuff around. We got a TikTok now too, so just be on the lookout for all the content. Make sure you like and subscribe everywhere. We appreciate you guys listening in as always, and we'll see you guys on the next edition of the Yards After the Catch podcast. See you guys later.